tryouts. We got some big names that are going to be out there competing, and not only today, but as the series grows and wears on, you can expect bigger and better things out of that. As time goes on, the series will grow. You will be amazed at the number of electric mountain bikes that will be out there. And of course, right now, folks, we are gearing up for the ATV portion of our afternoon racing. And of course, the XC1, the XC2, our ATVs all packed, ready to rock. And before we can let them do that, we're going to have a little course description from one of our junior trail bosses, the trail designers, Mr. Ryan Eppers.
The track is turning out really great, guys. There's hardly any dust out there. So you guys really should enjoy today. You guys go stand up from the start here and you're into the woods. Little piece of the woods when you come back out to the FS From there you'll work your way down past the 12-mile mark, go to the track side. You guys will bypass the finish the first time through. Now earlier, if you guys were out there watching the morning race, it got dusty on the moto track, so everybody used caution. They went out and watered that thing. So you're going up over that tunnel and you have to make a hard 90 or right turn down there. Just use caution. It's probably going to be a little slick.
You know, if you could just go into your child's sandbox out back and just kind of make a bunch of little dirt mounds, and then get your little tech deck bicycle or motorcycle out, and then do hand circles for 2 hours. That's what the race is. And then throw in routes and throw in other riders and throw in 80-some-odd degree temperatures, and it's a good day. It's a big sandbox. I like it.
Hearts are beginning to pound as the eyes widen. That we will be less than 30 seconds away, and that means shut them down, guys! Shut them down! Shut them down! Shut them down! Hot cams, all balls, whole shot award. And here we go, folks. It's a 406 of Kevin Behan grabbing the $250 out of the gill, running a close with second place position on the 520.
Cut back across the 2-way, work your way through the woods to the 8, and you'll come back up and down to the 9. Cross the creek over to the 10, out to the 10, guys. You got to do something a little different. So
look at this. Walker
drop across the creek and go right.
He's already just made the pass on Cole for second.
Moto track.
He doesn't quite get it.
Off in this tight stuff.
That's Bryson Neal in there too. So Bryson Neal is in the number 4 spot. But how about Walker Fowler? He came from 9th at the end of that first lap. This might be the 6-mile marker, we'll say.
All right,
already.
Safety first, GNCC racing, like all motorsports, can be dangerous. Racers, now that you've had an opportunity to inspect the course and the race procedures.
I really said this about Walker. He's really good at staying just outside of the main line to where it's smooth, but he doesn't ever go too far to where he falls out of the main line. And that's how he just made, or falls out of a good line. And that's how he just made the pass there on Cole Richardson. He swung wide, crossed over the main line, and made a pass on Cole while Cole was in the main line.
You will be penalized for reckless racing. And racing. Due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the course. It is your responsibility
Walker Fowler making his way around the course. He's at the 1,000-acre course.
Remember,
obstacles he faced, he overcome, and flipping way behind him. Walker Fowler takes the win here at the Moose Racing Wild 4 GNCC.
And now with our Moto Heroes.
All right, you guys want hats, you want swag, you gotta make some noise, let's go! There you go, he's tossed up, we got t-shirts, more t-shirts. Ready? All right, there they go. Who can jump high? There's a short toss. Uh-oh, there's 2, that's a twofer.
No, so if you could just go into your child's sandbox out back and just kind of make a bunch of little dirt mounds, and then get your little tech deck bicycle or motorcycle out, and then do hand circles for 2 hours. That's what the race is. And then throw in routes and throw in other riders and throw in 80 some odd degree temperatures, and it's a good day. It's a big sandbox. I like it.
All the hearts are beginning to pound as the eyes widen that we will be less than 30 seconds away, and that means shut them down, guys, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. Hot cams, all balls, whole shot award. And here we go, folks. It's a 406 at Devin Behan, grabbing the $250. Adam McGill running a close in second place position on the 521.
Wow. Look at this here. Walker Fowler is in the third. He's already just made the pass on Cole for second, but Cole is wanting it back and he doesn't quite get it. But wow, that's Bryson Neal in there too. So Bryson Neal is in the number 4 spot. But how about Walker Fowler? He came from 9th at the end of that first lap. This might be maybe the 6-mile marker, we'll say.
Yeah, right around 5.
He is making passes for the lead already. They're trying to make passes, but said this about Walker. He's really good at staying just outside of the main line to where it's smooth, but he doesn't ever go too far to where he falls out of the main line. And that's how he just made, or falls out of a good line, and that's how he just made the pass there on Cole Richardson. He swung wide, crossed over the main line, and made a pass on Cole while Cole was in the main line trying to get through.
Beware alligators and snakes. Go ahead, Swift, kids. Walker Fowler making his way around through these pine trees out of the 1,000-acre forest. The obstacles he faced, he overcome and put them way behind him. Walker Fowler takes the win here at the Moose Racing Wild 4 GNCC.
You guys want hats, you want swag, you gotta make some noise, let's go! There you go, he's tossing up, we got t-shirts, more t-shirts. Ready? All right, there they go. Who can jump high? There's a short toss. Uh-oh, there's 2, that's a twofer.
Welcome to Washington, Georgia for round number 2 of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. Here I am, I'm Landon Wolf with Alicia McCormick, and we're here at Aonia Motocross Track. We're looking forward to a great day of racing. I know we had some good racing at round 1 that unfolded, and I think we're looking to carry that on into round number 2.
We really did. Walker set a great pace the first lap. He checked out, but the battle for second place was really something to watch. Cole Richardson, Bryson Neal, and Adam McGill battled it out the whole race. And it ended up being Cole Richardson followed by Chris Borich. It was a great day of racing, and I really want to say Hunter Hart, he ran his first XC1 race, top 5. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we had a good day of racing all day in XC1. I know Adam McGill and Bryson both had a stellar day going on. Adam McGill ended up dropping off on the last lap. The Florida heat got to him, and Bryson Neal actually ended up running out of fuel. We also had a good day of racing in the XC.
Thanks, guys, and here we are down here on the beautiful start line of Aonia Pass, ready for round number 2, the home site of this guy right here's first win just 1 year ago. Bryson Neal, congratulations to you for that, man, and I'll tell you, a great memory to have coming into this one, especially after last week, man, running out of gas a half mile before the finish line. You were pushing so hard and charging so hard, I can only think that's what you got in mind here today.
Yeah, man, Georgia always treated us good. Love the soil, love the track. The weather's perfect today. We're raring to go and hopefully get this thing out front soon.
All righty, like he said, the weather's perfect, the track is perfect, and it's time to meet our starting lineup. Rolling to the line first today, he is a 4-time GNCC champion. He wins the opening round just 1 week ago in the sands of Florida, hailing from Rogers, Ohio, on the Yamaha GBC Tires Fly Racing Yamaha, the number 1, Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line second today in points after the first round of racing, riding aboard the number 5 from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, on Action Off-Road GBC Motorsports Yamaha, the Coal Train, Cole Richardson. Rolling to the line third today in points after that first round of racing. He rides aboard the number 3, the winningest GNCC racer of all time, 6-time GNCC champion. On the number 3 Suzuki backed by Maxxis Fly Racing and Yule Cycle Barn, Chris Borich. Rolling to the line fourth today, he rides aboard the 521 from Waverly, West Virginia on an Ober Moose Racing Parts Unlimited McGill Mafia Honda, Adam McGill. Rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the number 9, ranked 5th in points, the rookie from Newfield, New York on a Maxxis Ithaca Recreation WPS Fly Racing Yamaha, Hunter Hart. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 741. This young rider raced a GNCC last Saturday, the ATV Supercross at Daytona International Speedway, where he finished 7th place on Tuesday, and back here in the clay of Georgia, hailing from Myersdale, Maryland, riding on board that Suzuki backed by Ryland Johnson Racing, GB Motorsports, and Yule Cycle Barn, WW Wesley Wolf. Up next, he finished 7th after the first round of racing. It's his 25th year as an XC1 Pro aboard the number 12 from Aurora, Ohio on a GBC Fly Racing HMF Factory Yamaha, Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher. Rolling to the line today, 8th in points, aboard the number 11 from Akron, Ohio on a B&R Motorsports, GBC Motorsports, Hauser Racing Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Up next, he finished 9th in the first round of racing, riding aboard the number 406 in his sophomore year from Windsor, New York on an MR Unlimited GBC Tires RJR Honda, Devin Feehan. He finished 10th at round number 1, riding aboard the number 14 from Ithaca, New York on a Custom Axis Goldspeed Hauser Racing Yamaha, Greg Covert. To the line next, riding aboard the number 4. He ran out of gas just a half mile before the finish last week. But on the upside, he took his first win right here in Georgia 1 year ago from Bidwell, Ohio on a Land Mills XC CST Tires Hauser Racing Yamaha, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. Rolling next, the number 2. The Cobra, if you will, from Casca, Pennsylvania on a Maxxis Elka Moose Racing Honda. We call him the Sneaky Snake. It's Jared McClure. To the line next, riding aboard the number 7 from Richford, New York on a Spider Graphics GBC Motorsports Moose Racing Honda, Marty Christofferson. And last, and certainly not least, from Carroll, Ohio on a Pierce Performance Moose Racing 560 graphics backed Yamaha, Cody Collier. And that is your starting lineup for this second round, the Specialized General GNCC of this AMSOIL GNCC series. And folks, down onto the starting line, our pros make their way, and of course behind them, some nearly 175 other riders, 200 earlier this morning, 100 micros or so, and 100 or so youth. We've got a full house, no doubt, as far as ATVs are concerned. We still got electric mountain bike racing to go and motorcycles to go tomorrow. But right now, it's all on the lines for these ATV pilots as they all get set to etch their name in the history books here today. Can Walker Fowler continue his dominating win from Florida just a week ago? Will Bryson Neal be able to redeem himself here in the clay of Georgia after that hard charge and running out of gas a half mile from the finish just 1 week ago, knowing that he knows how to win here in Georgia? Well, folks, we're going to find out as we turn our attention to Ricky Towery now, and he signals these riders on the starting line. We are just 1 minute away from going racing here at Aonia Pass, and the hearts are beginning to pound. The palms are beginning to sweat. The eyes are beginning to squint as folks are anticipating the next 45 seconds before that green flag waves and this race gets underway here at Aonia. Once again, Ricky Towery, the maestro, the conductor of ceremonies here in Georgia. As he looks at his watch, we'll see the blue flag wave. That is a signal to shut him down. That will also signal 30 seconds for the start of the race. Shut him down, guys. Shut him down. Shut him down. Shut him down. I got to ask you folks, now that we got them all quiet, it is a still and a hush across the land. But Georgia, I know this place is getting ready to come alive, and I know you feel it as much as I do. And I'm going to ask you, are you ready to go GNCC racing? That's all right, Georgia. I think, though, that we all feel a little deeper than that. Let's dig real deep. Let's show these folks just how much we are ready to go. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Georgia, are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling here at the Specialized General GNCC. $250 up for grabs in our Whites Co. All Balls Whole Shot Award, and it's going to be the number 1 of Walker Fowler, the 406 of Devin Feehan, who grabbed the whole shot just 1 week ago, opening up in the number 2 spot now to the XC2 Pro-Am class. We got Drew Landers, Tanner Walker, Brittany Livingood, Steve Covert, Jordan Poplowski, Matthew Blankenship, Kenny Schick, Ben Kowalewski, Nick Royalty, Matt Lindell, Cameron Bruce, Lance Cope, Wyatt Wilka, John Glotta Jr., Ronnie Rush, and Bodie Lamoureux, all ready to roll in 10 seconds. XC2 Pro-Am off and rolling as that green flag waves. Rounding that first turn, $100 whole shot award up for grabs. It's the 82. That is Jordan Poplowski from Shamokin, Pennsylvania on the Henson Clutch Components B&R Motorsports Max's Tires Back Machine. College age 16 to 21, Seth Wilson, Alan Daniels, Andrew Monoski, Logan Weisenauer, also Tyler Swindle, Davis Brinson, Hunter Harris, Peyton Dalton, Brandon Owens, Chase Fetro, Ben Wilson, Hayden Nicholson, Noah Mickelson, also Daniel Peters. 10 seconds. Chase Allison, Gavin Jenkins, Jace Denny, Dylan Walraven, Rhett Cox, Corey Vanderliner, Cale Howard, Casey Simmons, also Cameron Abey, Mikey Nichols, Blaze Cook, and Drew Moore. On the inside, the motocrosser does it again. Oh, he does it. He gets shut out. The whole shot going to the 246 of Brandon Owens.
out of Walker, West Virginia on a Pirate MX Impact Solutions Moose Racing Back machine. Shutting down Mickelson now. The Junior A 22+ class. Zach Wright, Josh Haney, Justin Miller, Luke Shepard, Tyler Palmer, Jade Millwood, Chris Ballou, Dustin Ulrich, Bryce Weiland, Nick Davidson, Alex Aloff, Doug Morris, Clinton Graff. 10 seconds. Weston Scott, Caleb Edwards, Jacob Scott, Ben Danner, Dirk DeCesar, Michael McAvoy, Chandler Berner, Tyler Nivens, also Andrew Hickson, John Simmons, Jeremy Ladon, and Marshall Goings. .724 out front. Let's see who that is. Hole shot to the 44. That is just Luke Shepard out of Marion, Ohio. SBR LS4 Hauser Racing. I thought I recognized that 724. GNCC number 44. Now we go to the Vet A 30+ class. Jeff Pickens, Big Papa P. Also Tom Kuntz, Chris Conklin, Todd Muscala, the Marlboro Man back with us. Back here with us, James Green, Corbin Knox, Michael Lancaster. Also Travis Austin, Corey Blinkowitz, Kevin Yoho, Neil Pitts, and Brad Whitehead in 10 seconds. Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens gets a great jump off the line on that 21 machine, sweeping that first turn into the second turn. It is Big Papa P, and it looks like maybe Kevin Yoho hot on the rear wheels. We got a barn burner about ready to set ablaze there. Senior A 40+ class, Michael Hayes, Gary Buffkin, Jason Noble, Brad Breedlove, John South, Tom Barrett, Brad Macri, Dale Batson, and Brian Shaw. Senior A 40+ ready to roll in 10 seconds. Michael Hayes from Rocky Face, Georgia, the number 42. Watch him roll. Oh no, it's the 410 slipping through John Salsa. John Salsa from Warwick, Rhode Island on a Spider Graphics Fly Racing GBC machine. Cut him right off. College B. Ronald Howard, also Dalton Keys, Grayson Eller, Jason Dawkins, Colby Clark, Cale Klein, Carson Bradley. Looking at Corey Miller, Hunter Cowan, Joey Osell, Ethan Meyer. 10 seconds. Colton Kendall, Michael Lohman, Aaron Greenwell, Hunter Godsey, Clayton Whipke, Tyler Rumpke, Dustin Cooner, Caden Ryan, and Keegan Walker. Grayson Eller, good jump off the inside. Let's see if that motocrosser can hang on to it. He took the win in this class a week ago and opening up with about an 6 bike length lead over the rest of the field. A great start by the Phoenix Racing Red Riding Honda rider there. Junior B 22+ class, Cody Eller, Travis Mathias, David Kite, Neil Tolston, Dylan Holloway, Nathan Johnson, Greg Ulseny, Travis Matthews, Justin Eisen, Jacob Allball, Jonathan Kreinbull, Travis McConaughey, Mike Percy, and Cameron Klein in 10 seconds. Oh, tied up in the first turn, but not the 313. 313, Travis Mathias from East Rochester, Ohio, grabbing the early lead in this one. And our Vet B class ready to roll next. We got Nick Miller, Nathan Tickle, Aaron Hendershot, CJ Mullet, Corey Tribalock, Anthony Spivey, David Ashby, Justin Sullivan, Cody Holcomb, Wesley Smith, Cody Stewart, and John Higgins, all ready to roll. Still trying to get that first turn cleaned up. One rider trying to fire that machine. They're going to push him out of the way. Ricky Towery will resume the starting sequence in just a moment. As soon as he gets into a safe zone there. And Jeremy Holbert, way to go, Bo. 10 seconds. And they're off. That B 30+ class. Jamming through the gears, my friends. Trying to, overshooting that first turn there. 4:01. We got Anthony Spivey from Mount Juliet, Tennessee. CST Spot Tires, RJR, Spivey & Sons Property Mart, another sponsor, and Senior B40 Plus class. All ready to roll next. Greg Phillips, Jason Flaviano, Daniel Dakota, Daniel Ogden, Robert Stevens, Jeff Harvey, and Scott Gaddis. 10 seconds. Green flag waving for the final time here in the ATVs this afternoon. Who's going to be the front runner rounding that first turn into turn 2, crossing that stripe? Will be the 3.52 of Jason Flaviano from Gaillard, Ohio. And that is your General ATV PM start here at the Specialized General GNCC. Of course, wow, a lot of things going on today, friends. We've got a big race on the racetrack right now. Devin Feehan, another great start for that rookie. Can he now, behind Walker Fowler, keep the pace? What about, what about Bryson Neal? Is he going to be able to redeem himself from last week? Maybe repeat what he did here last year? Stick around. We'll find out when GNCC Live continues right after this.
Hey, this is Devin Feehan, and you're watching GNCC Live.
Consistent clutch feel is vital to effective starts, or to confidently maneuver around obstacles on the trail. AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil was subjected to an extreme simulated start test. After 32 simulated race starts, AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil continued to deliver consistent clutch feel, and the clutch plates remained clean with no visible wear. The competitor's oil, however, allowed discoloration and significant wear.
Speed has its price. Fortunately, it's super affordable. The Specialized Speed into Spring Sale with up to 40% off March 15th through 31st. The faster you visit your local Specialized dealer, the faster you ride. The all-new Yamaha Wolverine X2. With a compact chassis perfect for exploring tight technical terrain. An ultra-quiet and smooth 850 class twin-cylinder engine. And next-level versatility with a 600-pound dumping cargo bed. No other side-by-side delivers this level of proven off-road performance. The all-new Wolverine X2 from Yamaha.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Specialized Turbo e-bikes, it's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Welcome to Washington, Georgia for round number 2 of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. Here I am, I'm Landon Wolf with Alicia McCormick, and we're here at Aonia Motocross Track. Looking forward to a great day of racing. I know we had some good racing at round 1 that unfolded, and I think we're looking to carry that on into round number 2.
We really did. Walker set a great pace the first lap. He checked out, but the battle for second place was really something to watch. Cole Richardson, Bryson Neal, and Adam McGill battled it out the whole race. And it ended up being Cole Richardson followed by Chris Borich. It was a great day of racing, and I really want to say Hunter Hart, he ran his first XC1 race, top 5. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we had a good day of racing all day in XC1. I know Adam McGill and Bryson both had a stellar day going on. Adam McGill ended up dropping off on the last lap. The Florida heat got to him, and Bryson Neal actually ended up running out of fuel. We also had a good day of racing in the XC2 class with John Glauda Jr. bringing home the win.
He ran a heck of a race. In the second spot, we had Drew Landers, followed by Ben Kowalewski, a New York native. It was a great day of racing.
Yeah, and it also looks like we have a great day of racing ahead of us, so let's head on down to Bolton for the track description.
Thanks, guys. We're here at the Monster Mile for this week's Yamaha track description, and we've got another great track this week. This section here is going to get really tough. Look how deep it already is. This is like Supercross style whoop sections. It's deep, it's going to get deeper as the weekend wears on, and that means there's going to be some really tough racing going on right here on this section of the course. As for the woods, this track is known for some tight woods, but guess what? It's also known for some really wide open sections. I feel like I say this every week, there's a good mix, but that's part of GNCC racing. We've got fast trails, we've got tight trails, and everything in between. And guess what? There's motocross out on this track too. So this one truly has something for everyone. We took a couple years off from this property and came back last year, and it was super, super popular. And I think that's due in part to the good mix of trails. I keep saying that over and over again, but that's really what keeps people coming back. And this year, we've mixed it up a little bit. We've got some of that same stuff that everybody really loves, and we've also got some new sections. Those new sections are pretty tight too. I think that's going to make for some great racing. That's this week's Yamaha track description. Back to you guys.
And we are back live here at the Georgia GNCC. What a day! A day of overcast and temperatures in the mid-60s and the ATVs out on track. There are many ATVs out there, very tight woods, as Jared just told us. And here in just a few moments, we are going to look at the track map, the Yamaha track map for the 2019 GNCC. The 2 p.m. ATV race, it's a 12-mile course where the riders will traverse through some very tight woods and then some open fields. And then, of course, the infamous motocross track that we have here at Ionia Pass. The motocross track has held the AMA Amateur National Championship Area Qualifiers for many years. This farm was part of the Gunther family farm and part of the AMA strategic plan in the southeast in the Peach State of Georgia. So the AMA or the Yamaha track map for the Specialized General GNCC, today's ATV race, 12 miles. On track right now, again, we're looking for Walker Fowler, who's last seen in the number 1 position. Now we're looking down on the motocross track. If you can see this area, actually this is over by the flat track, and it is a man-made area. There's a lot of construction going on here in and around Ionia Pass. We are waiting for our riders. That is the Monster Mile, it appears to be. It is the Monster Mile for GNCC stop here at the General. Somewhat technical, somewhat hilly, and traditional red Georgia clay. Spectators are starting to assemble in that area of the racetrack of this Monster Mile. Many of the riders, as they come through the Monster Mile, we've seen it over the years. Monster Mile goes through very difficult mud woods. Here it seems to be more technical here in Georgia. Big healthy line of XC1s here today and XC2 lined up. The memorable time from a year ago, as you recall, here at GNCC for the Washington, Georgia race, the General, Bryson Neal had a heck of a run running and then ran out of gas. Here's Bryson as he tells us how he prepares for this GNCC General.
All right, Bryson. So round 1, I know you had a little mishap there with the fuel. Tell us about what happened and run us through your race.
Man, we really don't know what to say about it because we've done the calculations so many times with fuel mileage that we tested, and we should have had 10 to 15 minutes still left in the tank, and I got about the 8-mile marker and I started bogging for fuel, and I was like, oh my goodness. Well, the whole race, I kind of got off to a bad start. I found out that my starter's bad on this quad, and whenever I hit the button, nothing happened on the starting line, and fought through the pack all day long. And finally got in the second on the last lap after riding behind Adam and Cole for the first 3 laps previous. Got a clean trail, man, was sprinting, felt great for being up in Ohio all winter long, man. First time in my life, no blisters on the hands, knees, nothing in Florida. So for 99% of the race, we felt great. Didn't make the half mile, but I don't know.
we was mad in the moment and frustrated, but we kind of pushed it to the side instantly that night when we had beers at dinner, laughed, and he's like, man, 12 more rounds are left, so let's go get it.
Yeah, man, I hear a lot of rumors. Everyone's saying you're going to be the guy to beat this year. And seeing that last round, with those setbacks you had, and now coming into it, without having those setbacks, how do you think you're going to feel and show up on the track?
Man, it's just fuel for the fire. Now I'm up against the wall. I got to claw every lap, every person. I gotta claw and tear my way and try to get every point I can, because first round is first time in my life I've ever had a bad first round and not got technically any points. So from here on out, it's just savage mode, race as hard as I can, ride as hard as I can. If I break the bike again, I guess we're out of the championship, but man, we just got to fight, and that's really our only plan, man. So we'll see you out there on the track, and hopefully we just have a good, solid, more 9 races till summer break.
Perfect, dude. Money. Thank you.
And so now we're watching riders come through the woods. We just saw Walker Fowler on today as we celebrate our St. Patrick's Day weekend. I'm going to call him Walker O'Fowler here this weekend as we watched him go through the tight woods here at the General. Tim Cotter here in the booth, filling in for Mikey Waynes. Glad to do it. It's been a long time since I've been able to be on a microphone at a Grand National Cross Country. Joined with 4x4 Pro winner here today, Landon Wolf. Landon, welcome back to GNCC Live.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's a good track we got out there today. Like you said earlier, I have already rode the track and actually won the morning overall, but I think it's going to make for really good racing today, and can't wait to see how these guys end up. I know I didn't get to make it to the start. I believe Walker Fowler got the whole shot, right?
I believe he did. Nonetheless, we just saw him up on screen. It's the 3.5 mile markers where they are now. I believe I saw the Yamaha hauling the mail here today. It isn't that fitting. Here we are in Georgia, the new home for Yamaha Motorsports, or Yamaha corporate headquarters in the United States has moved to Kennesaw, Georgia. And now we have Walker Fowler leading here today as he makes his way around this racetrack at the 3.5 mile mark.
Yeah, Walker Fowler got off to a good start as usual, and man, he's putting the hammer down already. But there are some front runners up there. I know I saw Chris Borch up there. Cole Richardson was close to the front. Bryson Neal was about mid-pack. Adam McGill was close to the front. So I know we got a lot of front runners there ready to do battle with Walker.
This screen right here they're showing is at mile marker 7.5, and here we see our leader
of XC2.
That's XC2.
That is Popolowski. There's the top 3. That's Popolowski, Ploppers, Drew Landers in the number 2 spot, and John Glauda Jr. in the number 3 spot. And John Glauda won XC2 in Florida, and Drew was in second. So they've already worked their way back up to the front here in Georgia.
And the track looks epic here today. It is just perfect conditions. You can see some of the roots starting to get exposed, which that makes it slippery. Is that right? When you see those roots, it's hard to get that bite.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we were talking about earlier, Tim, we were kind of concerned about the track being a little wet, but I don't think the track conditions could be any better here today. It really turned out to be a good day, and like you say, I mean, got a little bit of roots showing, but that's just about perfect.
It is, and now as we watch our riders make their way around this racetrack, we start lining them up side by side, nose to tail, through the very tight sections of this racetrack here at the Georgia GNCC. So it looks like we got a camera at the 3.5. We now see a camera at the 7.5. This is a 12-mile loop here for these ATV Pro riders. Long racetrack here today, longer than normal. We usually see somewhere around 10 to 11, so you add another 5,900 feet of racetrack, and that works out good for you guys, particularly those of you that are fortunate enough to be a front runner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it definitely keeps just, you're really only racing with your own class there. You know, a lot of tracks where it gets a shorter loop, you end up getting into lappers, and it could play a role in the entire race. But here we have, I think these guys, would you say, a 12-mile loop out there
12-mile loop here today.
Should be about maybe 4 at the very most 5, but I'm going to guess a 4-lap race. Going to be good heads-up racing all day long, and Like you said, we have a 3.5 mile marker and a 7.5 mile marker camera, and I know this camera is dual-sided.
Does a little bit of both.
Yes.
Does the 3.5 and the 7.5. That's how we design these courses. We'll get the guys inside the truck to go to the next camera shot so we know where they are from 3.5 to 7.5 mile marker. We also know that we have it at the Monster Mile. Here comes a couple of riders back into the screen. This is still at the 7.5.
This should be your College A class. That looks like that is Ben Wilson there at the 7.5 mile marker. I'm not so sure that he's leading the College A class, but I know he looks like to be a front runner right now.
And once we get one lap in the books, we see more telemetry from our computer system here, and we'll know where everyone is here today. But it is a beautiful spring day here in central Georgia. A bit crisp this morning. Got down into the 40s. Today it is probably in the mid-60s right now. Very little wind, maybe a slight breeze from time to time. But you could not ask for a better day of racing in the woods at Grand National Cross Country, the Specialized General here at Washington, Georgia at Aonia Pass.
Yeah, it sure is a good day for racing. Like you say, we actually took a break from this place, I think, for 2 years, and we came back for the first year last year, and man, I think the racing's is good or better than ever at this place. It healed well on those 2 years that we were gone, and man, it's good to be back.
It's a great facility. It's a motocross park first and foremost. Got about 160 campsites, full hookup campsites, and lots of great parking throughout the facility. The new proprietors here continue to put a lot of money into their facility and make it very accommodating for people to come. They practice here a lot. They race from time to time on the moto track, and then once a year we go cross-country racing here at Aonia Pass.
Yeah, this track really does have a little bit of everything. Like we were saying, it's over a 12-mile course, and it's got a lot of different terrain out there. There's some really tight woods. There's some really flowy woods. There's some what we see on camera, dark dirt with roots in it. We got motocross track. We got mulch piles. We got the Monster Mile over there. Have we got to watch them go through? I know I came in a little late.
I did not see them go through the Monster Mile. I don't believe they're there yet, but that Monster Mile is pretty unique.
It is.
They're doing a lot of road construction in the right in the area, and they did go through the Monster Mile right off the start. So we will see them back.
Okay, so next we should we have the Monster Mile, which we just talked about. Next we should be seeing them at the FMF PowerPoint. We got a lot of different variations of tricky sections. Like Tim was saying, the Monster Mile is definitely unique here at this race, and it's cool to see them go through sections like that, something different that they don't normally have to do. Another thing to note is this first lap is going to be a little bit longer than normal. I think right at the start we jumped into the track at about the 10, maybe the 10 or 11 mile marker anyway. But we bypassed the finish line for the first lap, so it's going to be a little bit long of a first lap. So it should be a 4-lap race. But here we have the leaders coming through the motocross track. This is the back side of the finish line, so they run the motocross track kind of 2 different times. They run the top side of it early on in the lap, the bottom side of it later on in the lap. So we have Walker Fowler already through. Looks like in second, that looks like it's a white helmet, and I know Feehan normally wears a white helmet, so I'm going to guess that was him. In third place, looks like Cole Richardson coming off a really good ride in Florida, second place in Florida. And Chris Borch, and it looked like Adam McGill, and then Hunter Hart. I know those were kind of ripping by, so that was a little bit of a guess, but I think I might have been all right. And joining us in the booth here in just a little bit is going to be Rodney Tomlin.
With a mouthful of a Quaker Chewy bar right now. Give me just a second.
I might have joined you in a little bit early, but so yeah, these guys are coming through right now. We should be expecting XC2 here any minute. But like I was saying, this is the second time they enter onto the motocross track. Then they will go into some really, really tight woods on the bottom side of the finish line, which might take them a little bit to get through there. It's about a mile's worth of woods. They have the mulch pile over there, which is the FMF or the FMF PowerPoint, correct? And and then they'll be making their way to the finish. So definitely pumped to see them start rolling through the finish line and see how this whole class is shaking up. This here looks like the back half of XC1 still. I believe that is Greg Covert on screen right now. If it's a number 14 Yamaha.
So, did you happen to see how Bryson is doing right now?
I didn't. We kind of missed the middle of the XC1 pack there, so I didn't get to see exactly where he was. I know off the start he was about mid-pack, so he might be a little bit further back from the lead pack, but I know Bryson feels good coming into this race, considering he won this place last year, and
man, he was on such a charge last week. Whenever
he
and
was.
I heard him saying in his interview, and I seen and talked with him a little bit after the race last week. You know, their fuel mileage calculations, under, I'm sure, practice conditions, should have afforded him another 10 minutes or so of fuel. But if you remember right, Bryson was riding hard last week. The sands was deep. It was taking a lot of extra horsepower. It was last week's track was demanding on both the machine and man, I think.
Yeah. I think Bryson was riding a lot harder there at that Florida track, as you probably remember. He kind of played around in third and fourth all day long, not necessarily intentionally. Couldn't get around a couple guys in front of him, and I know he was really working that bike hard, and definitely I think he was only about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from the finish line when he ran out of fuel.
Less than a minute. We should be seeing our leaders check in here at the FMF PowerPoint, which is the mile marker number 11 here on this course. And like you say, that's not too far from the finish line itself. So,
no, the FMF PowerPoint is real close. Just some trackside pitting down the backside of all the pits. And here they come right now. Walker Fowler into the early lead, and probably feeling pretty good about that. Last weekend, we saw he got off to a little bit of a good start, ended up on 9th on the first lap.
Yeah, he and Devin, he was right behind Devin Feehan. I think they tagged a tree, and they fell from 1st and 2nd back to 8th and 9th place position.
Yeah. So, but it's the same duo right now. I mean, Walker's already got himself a little bit of a gap, but we do have Devin Feehan in the number 2 spot.
I'll tell you what, Feehan's a sophomore this year, but I don't think we should count him short. We didn't see the greatness that he'd hoped that we'd see last year, but there's Walker going down pro pits right now, down the VP Fuels Pro row, and beautiful shot, man. Great shot of that pits this week, and great camera quality too. But nonetheless, here comes Feehan again in 2nd place. But Feehan, like we said, might have a better opportunity this year to give us. I mean, he really wanted to be a part of that top 5. He wanted to win, but he wasn't trying to reach out too far. But today, he's in a really good position. Still early in the race right now, as that 4-rider shootout there, that should be 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place positions, rounded out by Hunter Hart, who's the rookie this year, and he's doing quite well, as I believe, to kick things off this year.
Yeah, I tell you, Hunter Hart, he's really been impressive this year already, and you know, he hasn't. We've only been through one race, but hasn't been in podium position just yet. But he's been having just really, really good, solid rides. And
well, you know, as well as
Wolf's pulled into pits with some issues.
Uh-oh.
That's no good.
No,
some shock issues. You got James Reeves down there wrenching on the shocks a little bit.
So how much of a change do you think these guys are having to go through? I realize it, but I mean, the changes on their machine they have to go through in order to get, I guess, what we're looking for here, the right setup for Georgia as compared to Florida.
It's definitely tough because Florida is such an oddball race. You know, we don't race in that deep sand really, hardly ever. So yeah, I do think it's a bit of a change. Everybody's suspension might be a little stiff down here, or up here in Georgia, I should say. But, you know, these guys are pros. They know what they're doing. But I think one thing there, I did see Devin Feehan come through, and I'm not sure what's showing up on your
It's not
computer.
showing up on timing and scoring right now. That could be a transponder issue, but it is Walker Fowler followed by Devin Feehan. Then Cole Richardson is your 3rd place position. You got Chris Borch, Adam McGill, and Hunter Hart. That was that group of riders that were running together. Then 13 seconds back, Bryson Neal. So he's having to work his way up. And, hey, what better way to start the General GNCC than the way you start the season behind the 8 ball and having to work your way out of a hole. And this might be an indication. If we see him do well here today, that might give us a good indicator of what this championship bid might be like for him this year.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely have everybody's pretty spread out. I see Josh Merritt is in the pits as well. Looks like he has some issues. And I was at maybe the 1 mile marker at the start, and I saw a little bit of dirt on his shoulder. I don't know. Did you see on the starting line? Did he have a crash or anything?
I didn't.
He's back out, so.
Yeah.
But Bryce, like you were saying, Bryson Neal's definitely still within striking distance. Other than Walker Fowler on Cole Richardson already has a 25-second gap. So.
And remember, Devin Feehan is in between that, so
yes.
The gap's looking a little larger than probably. There's our XC2 riders we see checking through right now. I see John Glotta making his way down through the pits there on the 712 machine.
Drew Landers was just in front of him, so they're running the number. They finished 1 and 2 in Florida, and they're already running 1 and 2 here in Georgia.
I tell you, heck of a great group of kids coming up through that XC2 Pro-Am class. We've watched these kids grow up. We saw Landers actually start out on 65cc motorcycles, race the GNCC ranks on a motorcycle, and then finished out, I believe, a year on the ATVs in like 2011, and had some setbacks here and there. But man, now that he's reached this college A class, he had a good run obviously there 2 years ago. Last year he had a good run in the XC2, and this year I think he feels like he could win this one. And I had a chance to talk to him, which you'll be able to check out on Quad Radio if you watch Facebook and social media, but a really good interview if you happen to see that one pop up. Here's the battle at the Monster Mile, it looks like now. And wow, look at this. It looks like it's kind of tight between some of these riders.
Yeah, so we have, I know Walker's really got a pretty good lead already. We got Devin Feehan in second, Cole Richardson. Adam McGill has moved up into the number 4 spot. Chris Bortz there in 5th, and Hunter Hart in 6th.
So a few little changes. It looks like maybe the third place backpack to 6th place back there to Hunter has closed in a little bit now on the 2nd place ride of Feehan. So he's starting to feel a little bit of pressure now.
Right here on camera is 2 people definitely to keep an eye on today. And we just missed there was Bryson Neal coming through. But here we have Jared McClure and Johnny Gallagher. Jared had a couple issues there in Florida, so he didn't really get to show what he had. But somebody who, in my opinion, had a fantastic race in Florida. I know he still wasn't pleased with it, but it was Johnny Gallagher. I think he rode a really, really good race, and he's off to a good start here.
Right. I think he got, 7th place, if I'm not mistaken, or 6th place, or 7th or 8th? 7th. So he got 7th place, and the thing about it is, the 7th may not be the impressive part of that. It's where he came from to get the 7th place.
Exactly. Johnny's been here, I think, 25 years now in the pro class.
This is his 25th season in the XC1 Pro class, yes.
Yep. So I would just have to say, if I could run 7th place in the XC1 class after being however old he is, I think.
41.
Yeah, 41.
He's getting ready to turn 42.
And being here for 25 years, I think that's pretty impressive. So
I believe so as well. He should get win bonuses for top 10.
He wouldn't accept it.
No, he wouldn't. He's too modest of a guy, that's for sure. All right, let's check in with some of these XC2 riders that have graced us with their presence. Drew Landers checking in. He had about a 2.5-second lead over John Glotta. Jordan Poplawski, who I believe got the whole shot in that one out of Shamokin, Pennsylvania, now almost 10 seconds back in the 3rd place position, as Brody Lamoureux out of Windsor, New York, a 1.5 back in 4th. And Matt Lindell is rounding out the top 5. A pretty big jump and a pretty big gap there, I believe, in that 3rd to 4th place position. So those front 3 are really starting to stretch things out there, it appears. So some of our XC2 riders have checked in with us. There's the Pro-Am riders to see who else we got. There's Lance Cope checking in on board the number 618. Back to see how the overall is shaping up with these guys checking in. How many, or if any, are in the top 10. It looks like we're still solid with XC1 Pro Class riders through our top 10. They are Fowler, then, of course, Richardson, it says, and Feehan. They might have came through that way in the at the finish line. Chris Borch in 4th, Adam McGill in 5th, Hunter Hart in 6th, Bryson Neal in 7th, Jared McClure is 8th, Johnny Gallagher in 9th, Wesley Wolf rounding out your top 10. Then there is your first place rider in the XC2 Pro-Am class. He is 11th place overall. That's Drew Landers. John Glotta running second behind him is 12th. Greg Covert from the XC1 class is 13th. Cody Collier 14th. Jordan Poplawski 3rd in the XC2 Pro-Am is 15th overall. Marty Christopherson 16th. Josh Merritt 17th overall. Noah Mickelson, top rider in the College A class. That is one of your Phoenix Racing Honda Red Riders that we've got out there. That is an actually factory-supported Honda rider on an ATV, folks. There aren't many of those in the world, and he is one of those. And he is leading the College A class. He won down in Florida last week by a few minutes, and he's off and rolling top 18th place overall. And this guy, and I know it sounds like a whole lot. You think, oh, I don't recognize that name. Or if you do, you say to yourself, isn't he a motocross racer? Yes, he is a motocross racer. But he has, the last couple of years, Noah has donned himself here in the GNCC and has taken a liking to it and is certainly very fast, as he is 18th overall. And he is leading the College A class. Bodie Lamoureux in the number 19 spot. Matt Lindell rounding out the top 20. If you would, keep an eye on the screen. I do want to check in with that College A class and some of these other classes real quick while we got a chance, Landon. I know we got a lot of shots coming up here pretty soon as well. But Mickelson leading Brandon Owens. The gap there, 22.5 seconds. Owens out of Walker, West Virginia on the 246 of 328. Ben Wilson from Forest Hill, Maryland, a minute and 9 seconds back. So those front two are really starting to stretch it out in that one. Just met this young guy earlier this morning, believe it or not. 6'17", Jace Denny from Jackson, Ohio, my hometown. And he's out here with us. He is running in the 4th place position right now. Seth Wilson, the 26 from Smithville, Pennsylvania, in 5th. Chase Allison, the 470 out of McClellantown, Pennsylvania, in 6th. 7th is Drew Moore from Attica, Indiana. 8th place, Andrew Banovsky out of East Palestine, Ohio. 9th place is Cameron Avery out of Union, South Carolina, home to the Big Buck GNCC. He's on the 888, and the 73 of Tyler Swindle from Canby, Indiana, rounds out your top 10. We're watching on the TV screen right now. Well, it was 3.5 mile marker. Now we're out near the Monster Mile section of this race course as we continue to watch for our leaders checking in. Again, Walker Fowler continuing to lead this, and I don't think there's going to be much change in that for at least a few moments. Unless a mistake be made or someone picks up the pace quite a bit right now, and that's all very well and possible, no doubt about it. But keeping an eye on the Monster Mile, we're checking in with the Junior A 22+ class right now in the 44 of Marion, Ohio, and former motocross racer himself, Luke Shepard, also an avid side-by-side racer. 5.9 seconds back is Clinton Graff, 357 from Harrisville, Pennsylvania, running in that number 2 position. 3rd place, the 531, Michael McAvoy from Chester, West Virginia. 203 of Bruce Weiland from Ranshaw, Pennsylvania, in 4th. Josh Haney, the 36, and 5th from Upper Black Eddy, Pennsylvania. The 317 of Alex Elliott out of Valley City, Ohio, in 6th. Ben Danner, the 450 from Danisville, Georgia, is 7th. 8th place, the 62 of Tyler Palmer from Lisbon, Ohio. 9th place, 228, Nick Davidson from Steubenville, Ohio. And Dirk DeCesar, the 474 from Mineral Ridge, Ohio, rounds out the field of the top 10 in the Junior A 22+ class there. Landon, mile 2, Monster Mile. Much happening there yet, buddy?
No, not much. We just have our classes coming through towards the back. That's, I think, our 3rd place rider in the College A class. Ben Wilson's rolling through right now. Just watching all the A riders trickle in. Here shortly we should have a couple B riders. And then I imagine we'll be jumping out to the woods to see those pro riders. I know I saw them come through. I think it was at the 3.5 mile marker just a little bit ago while you were talking. And I saw Jared and Johnny are getting close to the tail end of Bryce and Neal. So, maybe if those 3 can hook up, and that could be a really good battle there.
For sure. We'll keep an eye out and an ear out for that. Just jump in anytime you need to, Landon. Vet A 30+ class quickly, just to give you a rundown. Kevin Yoho, another former pro rider, as well as Jeff Pickens. Pickens got the whole shot in this one, but right now 7 seconds separating Yoho and Pickens for 1st and 2nd. They have a 42-second lead over Corbin Knox, the 405, who's also a former XC2 rider. A former XC2 rider in A.J. Kuntz. Tommy Kuntz, the 24 from Ortana, Pennsylvania, in 4th. James Green, also another former XC2 rider. In the number 5 spot on the 275 from St. Mary's, West Virginia, Corey Blinkiewicz, another name you might recognize from around here for a long time. The 518 from Elwood City, Pennsylvania, and the 821 Brad Whitehead rounds out 7th place in the Vet A 30-plus class. And I believe one other A class we may have will be our Senior 40-plus class. Let's see if we've got any of those checking in yet. So Landon looks like going to be on his way out to the pro pits to check in with some of the things going on out there. And, of course, we got a lot of action. We've already seen a couple of riders checking in. Wesley Wolf in with an issue a little bit ago. So he's just one of a few that have stopped in. So Landon OLW is going to head out and find out a little bit more about those circumstances and situations. Senior A40-plus class, Tom Barrett out of Mooresville, New York, leading Michael Hayes out of Rocky Face, Georgia, about 16 seconds separating those two. It's John Salsa from Warwick, Rhode Island, who got the whole shot. The 4:10 checks in the number 3 spot of that Senior A40-plus class. All right, so we took a look at those Senior A riders. We'll go back and look at some Bs here in just a few moments. Right now, I do want to check back in with some of these shots that we're watching on TV. If you're watching the monitors right now, we are watching the Monster Mile, which is mile marker number 2. Now, you look at this, and it may or may not be 5,280 feet. But as we explain every week, the Monster Mile is not necessarily defined by footage. It is designed by what it feels like sometimes to get through that area of racetrack. Now, though this Monster Mile might not be as challenging as some Monster Miles, as this race wears on, it will certainly present its challenges to these riders. And as narrow as it is, it could open up some opportunities for some big changes down the stretch as far as the final lap is concerned. So we'll certainly be keeping an eye on that area of the racetrack, the 2-mile marker, as this race wears on. And meanwhile, we'll be looking into a little further down the track and further out into the woods as well. So Walker Fowler continues to lead. Last check, no changes there. Richardson, Feehan, Borich, and McGill. We did have a bit of a change there with McGill around Borich, dropping Borich to the number 5 spot, McGill up to 4th place. And I believe we saw physically, it looked like that Feehan at one point early in the lap was ahead of Richardson, but we could have been mistaken. And not only that, that could have changed. So we'll be watching with bated breath. And the likelihood of something like that coming to pass is not out of the realm of possibility, folks. You got to think about Cole Richardson. In all honesty, this rider has flown under the radar. And every time he blips on the radar, it's always been an issue that's popped up, whether it's physical fitness, well, not physical fitness, but it would be in a sense, considering that he had some illnesses and things like that, or physical incapacities with injuries. The last few years have not been on this rider's in this rider's favor, but Coltrane has trudged along and kept chugging along, so to speak, and kind of got his re-solidified, I think, last season in 2018, but this year is coming out running and gunning and ready to make some big changes, I believe, as far as his position in the world of GNCC racing. And he wants to challenge Walker Fowler, former comrade and mentor of his, for that championship. And I'll tell you right now, Cole Richardson has about as good a chance of anybody of dethroning Walker Fowler at this particular point. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that as we keep an eye on the racetrack as well. We are 46 minutes into this race. About 16 minutes our leaders are due in. And I've got a special guest in studio, and this right here is actually a world champion and a Hall of Famer. We're talking electric mountain bike, EMTB racer here with us in the GNCC series, Nat Ross. And Nat, I know that your GNCC is a part of it, as part of the training regiment for this year's World Championship, EMTB. And though it's something new here to us in the United States, it's nothing new as far as the rest of the world is concerned, this pedal assist bicycle racing we're talking about.
Yeah, Rodney, you're not kidding. It's amazing watching the progression of this sport. So European tradition is typically ahead of the sport in a lot of arenas, and you guys see different styles of racing. Well, they've adapted the technology over there. They've been doing it for years. They've nailed it, and we're kind of following suit. So, yeah, their courses are a bit different, but I think we have more momentum and more energy.
And I think with GNCC, GNCC is going to be probably different than the norm anyway. You know, we live on the fact that this is America's toughest off-road racing series on motorcycles and ATVs, yet we take into consideration, you know, people are getting no, I'm just kidding, that the equipment costs more and things like that. So it's tough. We try to make it tough, but also at the same time fun, passable, and everything for everyone. And that's kind of the idea I think that we have with the electric mountain bike racing. Give it a challenge, but at the same time keep the aspects of the EMTB racing at the core, I believe.
Well, I see you guys have the structure, so GNCC Racing is completely dialed, the format's here, and now you're just incorporating something new that's up and coming.
Right.
So you're really ahead of the curve.
Yes, exactly, and that's what we hope to be. This is a national championship series. And where are you from, Nat? You're from here in the U.S., obviously, right?
Correct. So Colorado native, spent a lot of time in the European soil, especially Italy was kind of my main breeding grounds over there, racing on the professional circuit, especially the Dolomites and the soil. And there's a lot of training to be had out there, and the best terrain in the world can be found in the mountains, in my opinion. But this is a fantastic venue.
Yeah, I think we're going to love that. There, I think that was the number 9 we just saw there, Hunter Hart. I thought I saw that number going through, so that means that we've got some of our pro riders jockeying for position, trying to get it all sorted out here at the 7.5 mile. Look at that. That thing's really starting to open up. Things are starting to speed up. I happen to be talking with Nat here. Looked away from the monitor for a moment, but we'll try to keep an eye on that. Now, Nat, just got to wonder, would you ever consider doing anything like this? Do you like motorized racing by any chance?
Well, I think that there's so much support from the family and the tradition that you guys have out here camping and just the food and all of it. It's very appealing. So
it is, isn't
you
it?
could see me converted.
That's awesome. That's great to hear that too, Nat, because I like that you picked up on the fact that this is a family atmosphere. And I like that you picked up on the food part of it, because that's a big part of the nighttime activities for a lot of these families, is to get together and they cook dinner together and socialize and things like that. So you're already becoming a GNCC Nation member, man, so welcome.
Well, I appreciate the warm welcome, but the racing that's going on today, this is exciting.
Yeah, it most certainly is, and I think it's going to be exciting today. We're going to get started somewhere in the neighborhood of 4:30, I believe. Might be a few minutes late because we got started a little bit late here. We're going to be starting on the Motorcycle Pro Row. You guys are actually going to utilize the start out there, and we will be using the finish line. We won't have that live on Racer TV, but we will have some highlights for you guys and for folks back home to be watching. So be watching social media this evening and throughout the upcoming week, as we'll be bringing you all kinds of great highlights from the inaugural running of this new championship series we call the EMTB GNCC. Nat, again, thanks for being a part of it. Appreciate all the you flipped it. All the great all the great things that you bring to the GNCC itself, because whenever, I mean, we can say we're having a GNCC Electric Mountain Bike Championship Series, but unless people come with names like you and the clout that you've got, it doesn't give it any true clout. But I think that we've got that, and we appreciate the world champion and Hall of Famer being here with us, buddy.
More than happy to do this, and excited to see you on the start line, Rodney. So everybody that's out there today, you're going to see some fun stuff. Bring it.
Bring it. Let's bring it. And we'll have the crowd down there with us, I'm sure, as we get set for that first EMTB GNCC race. And right now we got big things going on here with the, well, nearly an hour into this. Call it 51.5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Now almost 52 if you look at the timing on the screen. Fowler, Richardson, Feehan, McGill, and Borich. That's been flip-flopped around a little bit. We see that Wesley Wolf checked in 10th place. He had a little bit of an issue down there. We got Landon Wolf down in the pits. We're going to see if we can't get some updates on what took place there through the pro pits. Highlights from this first lap of racing so far, as we said, Walker Fowler out front leading this one. A few changes here and there, but Devin Feehan, sophomore, is doing quite well. Rookie Hunter Hart doing very well as he's right there in that lead pack with those guys in that 6th place position. Looks like Drew Landers leading the XC2 Pro-Am class. He is 11th place overall. And Noah Mickelson leading the College A class, but that's not the impressive part. The impressive part is that he's 18th place overall here after this first lap of racing. The big question is, can he advance any further, or will we see him settle back a little bit as this race kind of settles in? We'll see if the motocrosser can make it happen or not. Again, he's tried and tested already in GNCC, so don't be surprised. He took a whale of a win just a few days ago down in the sands of Florida. All right, still watching on the monitor right now our Monster Mile. And guys, if you see anything come on the screen, give me a heads up. I want to check in with some of these B-class riders now. We got College B 16 to 21-year-old Grayson Eller, our other red rider, the Phoenix Racing Honda rider who won big in in Florida last week. He has a 10-second lead, almost 11-second lead at the end of the first lap over the 123 of Dalton Keys out of Holton, Indiana. 416, Ethan Meyer from Batesville, Indiana is third. Cale Klein, the 345 from Camargo, Illinois, in fourth. 5th place, the 527, Aaron Greenwell from Beech Grove, Indiana. 6th place, the 407, Joey Osell from Mechanicstown, Ohio. 7th place, 929, Keegan Walker from Berlin, PA. Then we got 8th place, Ron Howard from Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, the number 92. 9th place, the 624 Hunter Godsey from Chesterfield, Virginia. And 832, Camden Ryan from St. Clairsville, Ohio, rounding out the top 10 in that College B class. Junior B class has Justin Ice in the 541 from Metamora, Indiana, with a 22-second lead over the 606 of Doug Allball from Laura, Ohio. 3rd place, the 413 of Nathan Johnson from Sarasota, Florida, 32 seconds back. In 4th place, then, the 313 of Travis Mathias got the whole shot in this one out of East Rochester, Ohio, only about 5 seconds off the pace of that 3rd place position right now. Or 3rd place. And then Travis Matthews out of Gainesboro, Tennessee, is 5th place on the 494. 6th place, Jonathan Cryanbo out of Bristol, West Virginia, in 7th, or is on the 711. Then in 7th, 727, Travis McConaughey from Enon Valley, Pennsylvania. Craig Ullensey, the 8th place position from Vienna, Ohio, and Mike Percy, the 736 from Cortland, New York. And Vienna, Ohio is how you would say it, I guess, unless you're my mom, who always called it Vienna. Waiting on the leaders out here at mile 10. Will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of a minute. We'll check in with the Vet B class real quick. Aaron Hendershot, the 120, I believe was our Moto Hero, if I'm not mistaken, that Vet B 30 plus class. Leading this one out of Mansfield, Ohio, is an Air Force pilot, was Airman of the Month last month, and wow, just so glad to have him as a part of our GNCC racing this weekend and a part of our racing family. Hendershots and Aaron has been around for a long, long time, and being able to come in away from the Air Force, take a break, and come in like that, I think that's great. 489, Cody Holcomb out of Richwood, West Virginia, running in 2nd. We got Corey Tribalock out of Niles, Ohio, the 353 in 3rd. Nick Miller of Bristolville, Ohio, the 81 in 4th. And Wesley Smith out of Steubenville, Ohio, in 5th. Anthony Spivey from Mount Juliet, Tennessee, in 6th. Cody Stewart in 7th from Pleasant City, Ohio. CJ Mollett from Crawfordsville, Indiana, the 270 is 8th. 9th, the 117, Nathan Tickle from Bland, Virginia, in 10th. John Higgins, the 819 from Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. There's Walker Fowler on screen now. If you're watching this one, we are out on the motocross track now, so if you're standing trackside, you're probably witnessing this one as well. And if you're watching at home on racertv.com, well, that's where we are on that famed AMA motocross track. It's an amateur motocross track, but a lot of Loretta Lynn qualifiers and a lot of regionals and things of that nature, and a lot of local events. ATV Motocross National Championship events ran here, as well as this, the Grand National Cross Country Championship Series, being led by Walker Fowler, the 4-time GNCC champion, and now points leader after that first round of racing. We see 2nd place starting to check in now, and that is a little bit tighter. If you remember and recall, we actually checked in with our leaders at the end of lap number 1. Richardson was just 0.2 seconds ahead of Devin Feehan according to timing and scoring, so we may be in that very same scenario as we are watching that 2nd and 3rd place position unfold before our eyes right now. So there they go, 2nd and 3rd making their way. Richardson and Feehan still battling there. We should be seeing, I believe, Adam McGill check in next, and or Chris Borich on board the number 3 machine. Hunter Hart also in that mix of riders, so depending on how they've jockeyed their positions around, where they are going to be now. So we try to pick up on this 4th place ride now checking in. That's McGill aboard the 521, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going out on a limb there and saying that's still Borich back in that number 5 spot with Hart and Bryson Neal not far off the pace. Should be seeing coming up here pretty soon as well the number 2 of Jared McClure, who is showing some signs of struggle, I think, here in this second round of racing. He had mechanical issues that, took him out of the race there basically in Florida. But we'll see here today how things are going to fare for him as we watch this yellow machine make its way around now. Is this Wesley Wolf? Quite possibly. On the 741, if it is, he may have made up a position or two. Don't know. We might have missed Johnny McGallagher going through there just a second ago as well. He might have been in that rush of riders. And as they make their way through the moto track, we'll be heading over to the FMF mulch pile, the FMF, what we call the FMF PowerPoint here in GNCC Racing as we approach the 1 hour mark right now at 59 minutes elapsed time since that green flag flew here in the GNCC Racing Nation. And we watch with bated breath as these riders make their way on. Up next, we should be seeing some XC2 riders. And at last check, we know that it was Drew Landers, the number 17, who had a lead over the 2nd place ride, John Glotta, only 2.5 seconds. So that should be a good battle in that XC2 Pro-Am class right now. Glotta making his rise up through the ranks of the youth riders. And, of course, like we said, Drew Landers in that XC2 Pro-Am, late bloomer after racing 2 wheels through the youth ranks and cutting his teeth into the 4 wheels. But here we are, FMF PowerPoint leaders should be checking in any time now. That is not Walker Fowler. But that is a rider that is certainly feeling his, I'm sure, speed like Walker Fowler is feeling his right now. And speaking of Walker Fowler, there is the champ right now and your current leader. Fowler on that Walker Fowler Racing backed Yamaha with factory Yamaha support, of course. Looks like he's opened up that lead quite a bit now, a little more so than what we recognize. Well, no, it was 25 seconds, I guess, at the end of that first lap is what they're saying. But I swear, when I seen them visually on the track, they seem to be so much tighter. But a lot of things can happen in just a short time, and we know that Walker Fowler is one of those riders. If he can get out front, look at this. He's in the pits right now, get himself a quick splash of gas, drink, new goggles, and he's off and rolling. And still no sign of 2nd place position or 3rd place position. This might be them coming through the FMF PowerPoint into the pits now. We'll see here in just a few moments. But we should be looking for Richardson and Feehan and McGill and Borich. Actually, those 4 or 5 probably going to be coming in nose to tail now that I'm thinking back a little earlier in this lap. That may have been Bryson going through, so that is your 7th place position. So those guys, Walker Fowler making his way to the finish line now here at the Amsoil chicanes and heading toward the specialized finish line region. And back to the battle now. We'll head over just a little bit. Here's the battle for the 2nd place position. I believe that is still Richardson holding on to that position, so we'll know more and how far or how close they are behind Walker Fowler, who seems to be dominating this one once again, and it's becoming a sense of a matter of, maybe it's not a matter of who's going to win, it's a matter of who's going to get 2nd. And I know that Walker Fowler is hoping to see that. And here's that 2nd place battle coming toward the finish line right now. We see that There are just a few short bike lengths that separate those two, and that is Adam McGill up to second place now. So that's how much the changes have taken place. McGill checking in 39 seconds back, and that is Cole Richardson in the third place position. So what I thought was Devin, and I was second-guessing myself, I'm not going to lie, but that was Adam McGill in the number 2 spot now. Cole Richardson in third place as here comes a battle for the fourth place position as things are starting to stretch out a little bit. Chris Borich and Hunter Hart, these two seem to lock up quite a bit. Now, the good thing about this is Hunter Hart might be able to fire up Chris Borich enough to get him to reel those guys up front. Otherwise, Hunter's going to want to try to get around Chris and try to track those guys down himself. If we know anything, anybody that can run with a fistful of throttle and fury, that is Hunter Hart, and he is not afraid to do it. That young man, 19 years old, and really one of the hardest driving and hardest riding riders out there at different particular points. Got a little bit of seasoning to get as far as his pro class is concerned, but this kid will be a veteran before you know it. As we're an hour and 3 minutes into this one, it is Fowler, McGill, Richardson, Borich, Hart, your top 5. Bryson Neal up to 6 now as the Sneaky Snake is in the 7th place spot. Johnny Gallagher now, the number 12 machine, running only 6 seconds behind McClure, and Bryson Neal is 8th place. Devin Feehan, there he is. He drops all the way back to a 9th place position on the 406. So that'd be a good pickup in there in the pits to find out what's going on with Devin Feehan, and also to find out what happened with Wesley Wolf on lap number 1, why he had to duck in and do some pit stops there himself. And speaking of the Wolf man, there is Wesley Wolf checking in again in that number 10 spot out of Myersville, Maryland. And he makes his way. We'll see if he'll make a second pit stop or not. There's Walker Fowler at the 3.5. Well, this is the Monster Mile. Not the 3.5, 2 mile marker actually. So the Monster Mile, and Walker just make it. Well, you see a little kick up there, so you can tell that this does have a few things that can sneak up and bite you out there in it. And Walker Fowler able to keep the momentum moving forward, which keeps him from having any major miscalculations or oopsies out there to lose some time. And 40-second lead is what this rider is enjoying right now over the rest of the field. We should be seeing Adam McGill and Cole Richardson checking in. There's McGill now making his way into the Monster Mile, looking over his shoulder, starting to see a little bit of a gap open up to Richardson, but not enough to necessarily be too excited about, and not enough right now for Cole Richardson to be too worried about. One thing, though, is he can't keep letting this happen. If Adam is able to get out of sight for just a moment, just like Walker can. Once these guys get out of sight, they start showing their true speed and their true lines out there. So it's a cat and mouse game up until probably about the last lap of racing, oftentimes between these guys. It's a fast-paced, intense game of cat and mouse for these guys, but nonetheless, they certainly play a lot of games leading into the closing moments. It's about positioning yourself on the final lap, being there to take the checker flag. And right now, the best position you can be in is one that, like Walker Fowler's in, with about a 45-second lead now over the rest of the pack as he continues to pick up time. As we head to the pits down there, it looks like the number 7 machine in the pits. That is Marty Christofferson. And there is the 11 of Josh Merritt. He's in and out with a pit stop as well. So a couple of riders in. I would imagine that's probably scheduled pit stops for those guys, as it is lap 2 in the history books now. And we are at about the hour mark. I talked to a lot of these pit crews, especially after last week and Bryson Neal's misfortune of running out of gas. And a lot of the guys say they'd like to go between that 55 and 105 lap time. There is Thad Duvall watching patiently on the outside of the pro pits right now. He'll be out there tomorrow racing in the XC1 Pro class, going against, Caleb Russell and the rest of the field, as they are all chomping at the bits, ready to try to make things happen. And Stu Baylor, can't leave out Stu Baylor. Actually, Stu Baylor is the leader in points right now. And honestly, I'd say that that probably Thad and Caleb right now want to beat Stu worse than they want to beat each other would be my guess, if I know the way the camaraderie works down there in those pro pits right now. But big things coming up tomorrow. Big things over in the pits right now. There's one of our XC2 Pro-Am riders. That's the 82 of Jordan Poplawski from Shamokin, Pennsylvania. Henson Clutch Components, B&R Motorsports. Max is back right. He's in and out of the pits real quick. Poplawski, again, was running, I believe, second place. It's third place behind John Glotta and Drew Landers. Now Glotta is checked in the lead in the XC2 Pro-Am class, 5.1 seconds ahead of Drew Landers. Don't know what happened, whether it's a pass, whether it's a pit strategy, or whatever the case may be, but we have a new leader, John Glotta Jr., Drew Landers on the Land Mills XC team, running in that number 2 spot. And of course, Land Mills, Drew Landers, a rider that we see down there, and he's pitting with, of course, Bryson Neal. Land Mills also got a motorcycle team, believe it or not, with Alex Teagarden on it and another rider, and of course, just another big force in there, and another new team that we like to see in GNCC racing. And the great thing about this, these guys have got both ATVs and motorcycles, and they're there all weekend long. We had a chance to catch up with the folks from Land Mill XC yesterday.
Hey guys, I'm Alex Teagarden. I race XC2 Pro Lights for Land Mills XC on a 2019 Husqvarna FC250. I'll show you a little bit on my bike. Everything's pretty standard on it. Howie's coming over to check it out, but everything's pretty standard on it, man. These things are amazing out of the box. So, but probably the biggest and most important thing I have on the bike is the factory connection suspension. We made a few changes from Florida to get ready for the Georgia clay and make sure this thing's going to work out pretty well for me, which I'm sure it will. We've got some youth riders that ride for the team over here, and then I'll kind of pull you over here, and I think Bryson Neal's over here like doing his hair or something. So. We've got Drew Landers' bike here. It's getting charged up. Got the batteries getting ready to go so he can get an awesome start today, which I'm sure he will. And then we work on our way over here, and we'll get it to him. I think he's done doing his hair. So.
Hey, how you doing? B. Neal here. It's the ATV kind of side of things. This is the Land Mills XC tent setup and racing team. Chris Landers has done a wonderful job of setting up this pit area. Look at our checker flooring. Moose Racing stepped up, gave us nice stands for all of our dirt bikes, all of our quads. Got energy drinks on display. We was advertising Rodney Toblin earlier. We got toolboxes. He's got grills. We got nice tents. Chris Landers really stepped it up and really put on a nice professional look for us this year, and hopefully we can keep that trend and maybe others can follow suit and kind of start a kind of like a satellite team professional look, you know what I mean? We're trying not to just have a 10x10 setup, and Chris has done a really good job at that. And yeah, let me take you inside and kind of check out our gear spot. This is Chris's motor home. Inside here's where we get ready for all of our gear. Got our boots. He's got the walkie-talkie set up. Moose Racing gear set up, brand new, ready to go for the race. Bags, totes, everything ready. So yeah, Chris Landers, he's done a very good job of setting everything up, and very professional pit setup. And Land Mills XCs, we're ready.
This is Land Mills XC. I'm Alex Teagarden.
And I'm Bryson Neal, and you're watching Racer TV Rigs.
Pretty good deal as we congratulate those guys on a great team, and we got that echo again there, Adam. But we're joined in booth now by our youth overall winner this morning out of Bear Branch, Kentucky. I love saying it. It is none other than Damian Hawkins. Damian, of course, is one of our youth XC1 class riders this year, and has his heart and mind and soul set on winning the youth overall championship this year. And of course, he's one step closer after the big win here today. And I do want to take a note here. Damian is also the first ever Micro 50cc ATV winner. You won the first ever overall, and he got his first overall this morning. I interviewed him on the podium on his first Micro 50cc race. I missed the opportunity to get your first overall win in youth racing this morning, Damian, but nonetheless, buddy, congratulations to you. Welcome to Racer TV, man.
I'm glad to be here.
Buddy, great to have you. Second round in already, and we got a lot of action already taking place. How did your round in Florida go? I guess you didn't get the win like you were hoping to, huh?
Yeah, we had a bad start. I bent my axle by hitting a tree my first round.
Wow, that's no good. And that's why Dad was up all night last night trying to get that thing fixed, huh?
Yeah.
So tell me about today's race. How did that go for you?
Well, I got about fourth off the whole shot, and we went into the woods. I passed Paxton and stuff. And I caught Bryce. He stalled the bike. I went into first, and I just rode the rest of the race.
So whenever you got to first place, what did that feel like? What was going through your mind, man?
Tried to keep the position.
And you did just that. So how long did you have to keep that position? Was it early in the race that you got the lead? It was kind of about midway, I guess, huh?
It was about third lap, mid-third lap.
That's pretty great. So a pretty monumental day for you personally, and emotionally a good day for you because this win, not only for you, is it? Mm-hmm. Who else? You're racing for somebody, right?
Yeah, I'm racing for Conkler and his family and my dad.
That's it. Aiden Conkler, one of your buddies that you lost this past winter. And I tell you what, it's great that you were able to do that today, Damian, and I'm glad that you had the chance to stop by. Congratulations on your first overall win, and looking forward to many more in the future, all right?
Yeah.
All righty, that's Damian Hawkins. Again, your YXC1 winner and youth overall winner today here at the Specialized General GNCC.
Check.
And it sounds like we got Landon Wolf standing by down in the pits. Landon?
Check.
Okay, maybe we don't have Landon Wolf down in the pits right now, but nonetheless, we'll be checking back in with him here in just a couple moments for sure as we check back in here. You know, one class that I haven't had, had a chance to check in with yet is our Senior B. I do want to get those guys in after their first lap. They were a little later getting in than everyone. I don't want to say they're a little slower because they're a little older, but anyway, just kidding. Jason and Flaviano out of Gyrett, Ohio, have 1 minute 18-second lead on the 352 over the 918 of Jeff Harvey from West Union, West Virginia. Then we have another minute and 8 seconds back to former motocross racer Daniel Dakota, the 391 from Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Minute 34 seconds back to Scott Yadis at 9:36 and 4. 801 Robert Stevens from Warren City, PA, and sixth place to 403 of David Ogden from Jacksonville, North Carolina. Had a chance to talk with Daniel Dakota after last week's race. He said he just got wore out, lost time there toward the end, and couldn't push to make the pass, he said. But, well, actually he started getting tired, so he decided to save some energy, and he's hoping that the rest of the field got tired and he'll be able to take advantage of it here this weekend. Right now, not a bad start for the rider as he starts out in about a third-place position. Right now, though, racing action up front here with our pro-class riders. And actually, we got some updates. Here comes that update we've been waiting on from Landon. Landon, what's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, we're down here with Mark Notman, Walker Fowler's mechanic. Walker got off to a good start, got the whole shot. I think he's led every second ever since. He's already coming in pit. Any idea how he's feeling out there?
He didn't say anything in the pits, so that's normally a good thing. We got off to a good start. He said we needed to get a whole shot, get out front early, and that's what we did. So it was a little bit dusty. It sounded like a little gap built up early and was able to get away from second and third. I think last we heard it was about 40-second gap. So hopefully we can keep that up last two laps and bring it home for another win.
Everything seems to be working pretty smoothly down here in the Fowler pits. Back to Rodney, see what's going on out in the woods.
All righty, thanks a lot there, Landon. As we pick the action back up, as we said, we're now an hour and now almost 16 minutes into this race. Fowler due in just under 15 minutes for lap number 3 complete, and I would assume at that particular point we'll probably be taking a white flag as we're joined back in booth here by Mr. Tim Cotter, who's doing about 3 different jobs here this weekend. Tim, thanks for all your help here this weekend, and good job, man. Those kids you did a great job calling the races this morning. Really enjoyed that. What I'm talking about, we have youth races in the morning. We just talked with Damian Hawkins there a few moments ago who won, and those start out at 8. We have micro 50cc races. They go at 9:15 and at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we have what used to traditionally be the 10 o'clock race starts at 11, the 1 o'clock race now at 2. But a lot of really great things going on and a lot of busy things, and the heart of the GNCC Racing Nation right there in the morning, am I right?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about America these days. Those young men and young women got up on stage. They raced really, really hard, and it was a lot of fun to talk to them and see the excitement of the parents' eyes. And, you know, they all aspire to be the next Walker Fowler. So they're now lining the fence and watching their heroes as they make their way around this racetrack. Adam McGill was down there the entire time, shaking everyone's hand. It was very refreshing to see Walker Fowler down there, as well as Adam McGill. Jeff Pickens is now running the Vet A30 Plus class.
Yeah.
Kevin Yoho, Corbin Knox, Tom Kuntz runs in the number 4 position here today out of Pennsylvania. Mike Lancaster out of Morgantown, West Virginia. Mike Lancaster on the 408 out of Morgantown. Then Jesse Green and Corey Betowitz is also out there on the number 7 machine. And Brad Whitehead out of Reading, Pennsylvania runs 8th here today.
And we'll probably be seeing them come through this section, Tim. I pulled that class up. I just saw the 21 machine go by a few moments ago with Kevin Yoho, and Corbin Knox should be about to check in on board the 405 as we're watching this Monster Mile section of the race course. And sounds like maybe Landon, are you ready for another update, buddy? Okay. All right, just heard him checking in there for a moment, so we'll check back in with him in just a few moments. So Pickens, Yoho, Knox, Kuntz, and Lancaster. And I'll tell you, last year, a whale of a championship run between Pickens and Kuntz as those guys swapped back and forth all season long. Good to see Corbin Knox out here in this one. Also Kevin Yoho. Michael Lancaster, good to see him back. It's been a couple of years since I think I've seen him. James Green, another rider we see. He was a top XC2 rider there just a handful of years ago. Corey Blinkowitz, also another one of those riders. So we're seeing some of those former top riders and XC1 and XC2 riders start to age out a little bit and start to settle into some of these age classes. So that's always a lot of excitement, there's no doubt.
You know, they're not going to go away. You see some of these top pros, they may take a break every now and again, but they eventually come back. People like Jeff Pickens. He comes from Shamokin, Pennsylvania. That's Tracy Pickens' husband, and now their son is there. They're all about racing, and the amateurs, whether you were a top pro and then you go back to the amateurs, that's what's really unique about motorcycle racing, is that there's a place for everyone, and everyone has a place here at GNCC Racing.
And that is for sure. And I'll tell you, you know, each and every week, you know, we kind of recognize top amateurs that perform in GNCC, and quite often we do that. And actually, we like to, whenever they kind of show their face and we hear their name a lot, we kind of like to get to meet them a little bit. And for those of you folks that don't know Jeff Pickens, our Racer TV crew got a chance to catch up with Jeff and get to find out a little bit about what's going on in Jeff's life now as a racer, as a dad, and as a husband.
I started racing the GNCCs back, I think my first season was 2003. Started as everybody else does, you know, the amateur classes, C class, B class, A class, Pro-Am. Worked myself into pro. I think my first year in pro was 2007. Raced that up until 2013, I think was my last season. Had some good runs, you know. I wasn't your top 5 guy, but you know, I was anywhere from 8th to 15th. Had a couple decent seasons. Got on the podium once, you know, and then decided to start a family and a construction company, and basically just step back from racing and. No more training, barely get the bikes ready to come to the races, and we come here as a family, and now I'm running the Vet A class. And I kind of, when I step back, I raced a couple races like the first 2 years. I think 2014, 2015, I did like 5 races. I think the next year I did 9. And then, you know, moving on after that, I kind of got a taste and was having fun and decided to try going for a championship. And I ended up winning that class the past 2 years. Last year got the top amateur. That's basically out of all the amateur classes, it's the person with the lowest overall number. A lot of the young kids kind of beat me up to that point a couple years before that, but last year I was able to get that just by staying consistent. I wasn't the fastest, but I had the most consistent rides, and that's where we are today. GNCC, the one word I think best describes GNCC for me is family. You know, my wife races, that's how I met her. We got married because of the GNCCs, I guess you could say. Had our little boy, he had his first race in Florida there 2 weeks ago, and you know, I don't think there's any better description for GNCC is family. My name is Jeff Pickens. I run the Vet A 30+ class.
Right there, full circle, the whole family out there like that, Tim. The husband, the wife, the son, the mom, the dad, the son. You know, it's just a whole story. And what's really cool is he said family. And I don't know if you were listening a few moments ago. Nat Ross joined in with us a few moments ago from Specialized, talking about the EMTB, and he says he really is falling in love with this. And the first thing that he said, the family atmosphere, the dinners at night, and just the whole atmosphere, and that's exactly what people pick up on this. And you know, it's hard to believe that a series actually, looks at it from a family aspect, one that is so highly competitive. Let's check in with Landon Wolf, who's down in the pits right now.
Hey, Rodney, we're down here with Chris Neal, Bryson Neal's dad. Bryson got off to a little bit of a slow start today. He was further towards the back of the pack on the start, I know. He's been trying to pick his way through the pack, it looks like. He already came in for pits. Any ideas on what's going on in his head?
He's told me when we pitted him that he had to get it right now, and I see that. I talked to different people, and they was telling me that the lines are very tight. So his start wasn't the best today, but he's having to do what we're talking about, pick his way through. Hopefully here by this lap, that we'll be right there, maybe in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, Bryson got off to a little bit of a towards the backpack. Track's a little tight out there, but he's still trying to pick his way through all the people in front of him. Still got a lap and a half left, so we'll see what he's got in him.
All right, he sounds good, Landon. Bryce in 6th place when he checked in last time at the end of lap number 2. Our leaders due in just under 7 minutes. Walker Fowler leading that one. He had a 40-second lead over Adam McGill, who had just moved into 2nd. Cole Richardson was running 3rd. Cole's been in the top 3 pretty much since the start of this race, and he's not wanting to relinquish that any whatsoever. Chris Borge about 18 seconds back in the number 4 spot with Hunter Hart right in his shadow. Bryson Neal, as we said, another 22 seconds back in 6th. So depending on what this lap does for him and how traffic flows, Bryson might be in a position to be in the top 5. I know they're hoping to inch towards that top 3, but right now they got to break that top 5 barrier, Tim Cotter.
Well, it's going to be difficult. Those guys, you know, the leaders are still hungry. They're still very, very good, and it's hard to knock them off the mountain. But you look back down through the rest of the classes that are out on that racetrack, when you go from overall down to, say, the College A class, Noah Mickelson, that's David Eller's guy.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's atop the Honda today. He's from Salisbury, North Carolina. And David Eller and his team from Phoenix Racing bringing a big footprint to GNCC Racing, both on the bike and the quad side, and the amateurs. Brandon Owens and Drew Moore and Daniel Peters and Ben Wilson out of Forest Hill, Maryland to top the Honda. Those guys all have 2 laps in. You have Chase Allison and Jace Denny, Rhett Cox, Davis Brenson is all out there on the racetrack as well. And as you go down and move to other classes that are here, the Junior A, we have let's see, there we go. Clinton Graff. I can't see very well.
I know there's a little bit of a here's something. You got Clinton Graff out there out of Harrison, Pennsylvania, and Luke Shepard. Luke Shepard, he's a multifaceted racer himself. Tim, he raced ATV motocross, GNCC, and he's a side-by-side racer also. I mean, he's also husband to former WMX champion, of course, Megan Shepard, who was a women's motocross champion a few years ago, 3 times as a matter of fact. So there's that family aspect back out in it as well.
Well, you say he's a sidecar racer. You know, funny stories. Roy Jansen, many of you listen, know that Roy Jansen is our competition director. He is the reigning AMA Sidecar Enduro champion, reigning from 1968. It's the last time they had sidecar enduros, and he won it. So he's got that #1 plate. Walker Fowler is on screen right now as he makes his way through the motocross track. This track is seen and played host to area qualifiers here. Ricky Carmichael's raced this track. When you look back and look at all the guys that have come through the ranks into Loretta Lynn's, many of them have come through Ionia Pass. And there goes Walker Fowler on that #1 as he comes through a brief section of the motocross track and then back out into the woods.
I know a lot of the ATV motocross racers are really fond of Ionia Pass, as well as it's produced a lot of the ATV Motocross Nationals. So a very popular place as far as Georgia motocross tracks are concerned here at Ionia Pass. And as we mentioned earlier, and want to mention again, it's Ionia Pass Motocross and RV Park, and 130 plus sites with full water and hookups and electrical hookups. This place is really coming a long way. And the beauty of this motocross track, I mean, there's not many laid out like what we have this one, and the opportunities to be able to spectate at it is also a very nice place to come and watch a race as well.
Mark and Sherry Ridgeway have done a great job with this place, breathing new life into it and continuing to invest in it. It's a great facility.
It is, and there's the battle for second right there, and that almost looks like it's about to shape up to be a four-way battle. As we saw McGill, the 521, out front in that one. He had Cole Richardson on his rear wheel, and I don't know if that was Chris Borich and Hunter Hart behind him or not. They would have made up 18 seconds or so if that be the case, and it's not out of the realm of possibility by no stretch of the imagination, but we got some fast guys out there on that motocross track right now. They're all headed toward the finish line. We're about 2.5 minutes out. We'll be headed toward the finish line. The conclusion of lap #3, we'll be able to sort this out. We could tell Walker Fowler has already stretched that lead out well over the 40 seconds that we saw him a lap ago. And if you look at lap times from a lap ago comparatively, he turned to 29:44. Adam McGill had a 29:55, but everyone else was 30 minutes or longer on their lap time. So in theory, Walker really turning about 30 seconds than most, faster lap than most of the guys in that top 10 the XC1 class. So I expect to see that Walker has really stretched this one out. We'll probably be looking more closer to the neighborhood, I'm going to say, of about 45 or 50 seconds between that first and second place position as Walker tries to grow that comfort zone heading into the final part of this race.
2.5 minutes until he should be back into the finish line area if he is on time. We are now 1:30 seconds from our leaders to come through the finish line. And we'll get the white flag from Ricky Towery here just momentarily at the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country presented by Specialized. The checkered flag will be coming out in about 35 minutes or so. Again, we are a minute or so away from our leaders to come around. Battle shaping up for Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and Chris Borich and Hunter Hart in the top 5 here today in the XC1.
Going to be keeping an eye and an ear out to see how things are going for Neil McClure, if they're able to make up any gains here in this lap of racing, both running 6th and 7th. They were nose to tail when they came through the finish line. They're just a lap ago, about 30 minutes or so ago. Johnny Gallagher, another 6 seconds back in that 8th place position. The sophomore who got another good start today, back to the 9th place position there on the 406, Devin Feehan. Wesley Wolf, still not sure what happened to him on that first lap, why he had to stop and make the adjustments that he made, but that Suzuki pilot rounding out your top 10 still. And there is Walker Fowler on screen as he makes his way through
the mulch pit.
The mulch pit, the FMF PowerPoint, as we like to call it here in GNCC, and in and out he goes, and we'll keep an eye out there. I do want to point out that John Glotta, taking over the lead of the XC2 Pro-Am class, also took over 11th place overall, and Drew Landers just a handful of seconds behind him in 12th overall and still second in that class. Walker Fowler down through the pro pits. No stop this time, Tim Cotter.
No, he didn't stop at all. He's going to go. They're going to go the distance now. Checkered flag, or the white flag, rather, will be coming out this next time around. So Fowler comes into the pit area, goes straight down. They showed him the board, and he is off and running. So white flag coming out here. We are now running late. He is about 15 seconds late we're looking for our number 2 place guy.
According to timing and scoring, maybe just a few seconds late. We'll keep an eye on that, though. Our computer may be a little off with theirs, but they're right there in the fringe, if you will. 29:44 lap time last time around for Walker Fowler, and of course 29:55 for Adam McGill. So we'll see if Walker can best that 29:44. If he can do that late in this race like this, that is really saying a whole lot, I have to believe.
And he got the white flag.
Got the white flag.
Here comes McGill.
30 minute and 2 second. And there's McGill. This is over in the pro pits. This shows you how much of a distance there is now between first and second. And there is that 3-4-way battle for the second place position. McGill, Richardson, and Borch, and Hart, and those guys really making the run for that second place position as they make the run for the conclusion of lap number 3 out of sight of the pro pits now.
Here they come. They are now lining themselves up for the finish line. It is Walker Fowler has already come and gone. Adam McGill is on his way in to get the white flag. 1 lap remaining here at the Specialized General GNCC from Washington, Georgia. And a battle, a real fight on their hands for the number 2, 3, 4, and 5 position. McGill, Richardson, Borich, and Hart all duking it out.
There's McGill in for the number 2 position, 1 minute and 3 seconds off pace of Walker Fowler. In the number 3 spot is 1.7 seconds back. The Cole train, Cole Richardson. Hunter Hart has moved into 4th place. He's less than a second behind Richardson for the 3rd place position. Chris Borich less than a second behind Hunter Hart. Jared McClure another 5 seconds back in 6th. And what happened to Bryson Niels? He's dropped to 7th place, but he did check in. And he is only right now out of the battle for that top spot, that 2nd place position they're battling for behind Walker. He is less than 9 seconds right now when you do all the math to 2nd place. So those guys have really tightened up, and this final lap, Tim Cotter, is going to be super exciting.
Walker Fowler has checked out just a bit. He is still looking at a rather large lead, but the rest of them, like you said, within 10 seconds, you got 9 riders within 10 seconds. So things are going to get very interesting here in the final lap as the riders come through the pro row for the second to the last time. The checkered flag or the finish line is after pro row, so we will see them race down pro row again. Things are going to get very interesting. This is a long racetrack. I hope they've calculated it perfectly or properly. Because remember, last year we had somebody run out of gas on this racetrack.
Yeah, they have that, and hopefully that won't be the case so much today. I think these guys have all done their fuel mileage and their calculations. They got it all figured out. I know Bryson Neal, after last week's gas outage and coming up a half mile short, certainly a heartbreaker for him there. And I know he was hoping to redeem himself this weekend and also kind of maybe recreate the magic that happened last year when he took his first win right here at Georgia and this Aonia Pass motocross track. Of course, the General GNCC doesn't look like that's going to be in the cards for him today as he's holding on to 7th, but he could come back from a hard first few laps to a top 3 position. And even doing that, I think Tim Cotter will be an emotional win. It may not be winning points. It may not be a win on the track, but it would have to be, I think, an emotional win for Bryson, especially after what took place last week.
The Monster Mile, as these riders have come and gone, Walker Fowler has come and gone out of the Monster Mile. We're going to see real fireworks here just momentarily.
Well, mile number 2, as we said, this Monster Mile, and again, not necessarily 5,280 feet. Is that our leaders checking through again?
I'd say there's a real train of riders coming through here. I believe you're going to find that is McGill, Richardson, yes, Hunter Hart, Chris Borich, Jared McClure, Bryson Neal, all right there. 7 guys within 8 seconds.
Wow, look at that. They are literally nose to tail. This looks like old school GNCC heading into the final lap of racing where they played cat and mouse, but that's not the case. They spread out early in this race. There was a lot of different things going on, and then all of a sudden things tighten back up. We see that a real big push from Adam McGill after that first lap of racing to get up to the number 2 spot. We see that Cole Richardson has not relinquished any speed or any position right there. He is hung tight close to that number 2 position, but I'm I'm equally impressed right now with Hunter Hart, Chris Borch, Jared McClure, and Bryson Neal, because they were able to make that 20-plus second gap up between that third and fourth place position, and the little gaps that they had amongst themselves that added up to nearly 30 seconds, and now they're all within 10 seconds, second to seventh place right now.
They're giving it the gas, there's no question about it, and off into the woods they go here today at Ionia Pass. We are at mile marker number 2. We also have a camera at the 3.5 mile marker, the 7.5 mile marker as well, as we are watching these riders make their way through. Some of these guys that are in the other classes may not be in the shape, may not have the commitment or the time to fight and battle like these pro riders do that make a living at this. But nonetheless, it is still very impressive on the athleticism that these guys have. Many of these guys have 9-to-5 jobs, and they come racing on the weekends.
They most certainly do. There's Johnny Gallagher in the Monster Mile right now. Gallagher, I believe, back in an 8th place position with 6 seconds out of that battle for the top 7 or 7th place a lap ago. You can see that those guys have really stretched things out there. And Johnny, not that he hasn't, but he's looking over his shoulder like he might be having company coming around the corner as well. And that company that he's looking over his shoulder at right now, if it's XC1 rider, that'd be Wesley Wolf, but Wolf actually checked in 31 seconds behind him. He might be looking at an XC2 Pro-Am rider, and he might be looking at John Glotta and Drew Landers closing in on him physically on the racetrack right now. So pretty impressive scenario unfolding out there on that racetrack, and not sure what's going on with Johnny, but something behind him certainly is taking place. A couple of updates for you from some B classes while we keep an eye out on this monitor here, Tim Cotter. We got a change in the college B class. Ethan Meyer, the 416 from Batesville, Indiana, is now out front 15 seconds over Dalton Keys. Keegan Walker out of Berlin, PA is 3rd. Aaron Greenwell in 4th. And 5th place is Ronald Howard. There is Walker Fowler at mile marker 3.5. As we said, some minute and 6 seconds, now 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the field out there. And just a quick update on that college B class, letting you know on that one. Go ahead.
It looks like Narnia. When you go through those woods, it looks like they're in Narnia with the trees, those just majestic trees.
It is.
In the woods here at Ionia Pass. What a beautiful piece of property we get to race on here today. We're so blessed to be able to race on this facility here. Going back to the Monster Mile, looking at some of these riders as they come back through the pack, the B and some of those A-class and senior A riders making their way around the Monster Mile. When you first look at this Monster Mile, you say, hey, that's really, really cool. It's going to give me a break. I don't think there's any breaks here. That it doesn't give you any chance to rest. You imagine the arm pump that these riders are having here. Thank goodness it's cool. We're not having a warm day like it could be here in Georgia or like it was a week ago in Florida. Those guys were exhausted.
There's your second place ride, the 521 of Adam McGill. There's 3rd, Coltrane. There is 4th place. That is Hunter.
Look at it. They're all lined up.
Hunter Hart. We see also Chris Borch in that mix, and all the way back there to the number 4 machine of Bryson Neal. That is a true train, 2nd to 7th place position. They are literally, if you can't see them on the Racer TV monitor, folks here at the racetrack, they are nose to tail, 521, 5, 9, 3, 2, 4. That close, and as quick as you can see them, they're going by that fast.
Yeah, and I think we're in like mile 40 of this race. It's a 12-mile lap. Think about this. So we're at that's 36 miles plus another 3. So we're almost at mile 40 on this race, and those guys are that close.
Yeah.
And there's 8 more miles to go.
And the amazing thing is you get later in these races like this, oftentimes you expect riders to start to wane, their energy start to wane, they start to tire and things start to stretch out. That's not the case. It's a totally different situation and scenario. And this right here always proves to be a good one. Now, last week, obviously with the rougher conditions of the racetrack, it took their toll. And Tim, you're right, this is a very challenging and demanding track, but I know those riders that rode in the sands of Florida last week, this is a welcome change compared to what they had to fight with last week. But
just what you're saying. It is rough, it is rugged, and it is energy sapping. So this final 8 miles that we're talking about and this push that we saw these riders doing midway through the race, that could start to play a little bit of a factor in this race here in the closing moments.
You know, and that gives us a nice segue into what's going to happen in 2 weeks. When we get into the mountains of North Carolina, it is going to be steep elevation changes, vigorous, and we'll find out more when we return with Racer TV Live.
Grand National Cross Country, a race like no other. 2 hours of battling in the toughest conditions an ATV may ever see. And you get to watch it in the comfort of, well, wherever you want to be. Just click us right here, live on Racer TV.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
The action is just heating up, and we're just getting started. Stay with us, live action on RacerTV.com.
I'm a junior pro surfer from Maui, Hawaii. I actually tried to homeschool in 8th grade and just didn't meet my needs. I came to On Track in 9th grade, and from the beginning I really liked it.
The mission at On Track School is to make academic success completely possible for each and every student while they're out pursuing their personal goals.
Everything is just super easy with On Track. I get to take my computer on the road whenever I need to. It makes it very easy for me to get all my work done.
If you're looking for a program that provides flexibility and a program that you can take anywhere that fits your lifestyle, then On Track is for you. So come check us out at ontrackschool.com and go get it.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. Nine-time GNCC champion Bill Balance is undeniably one of the greatest GNCC champions in history, amassing a total of 67 wins and 9 championships throughout his career on board his factory-backed Yamaha. And on this weekend in 2005, here at the General GNCC, Bill battled with challenger number 7 Chris Jinks and another up-and-coming great Chris Borich. Jinks led the first 2 laps of that race with the then number 3 Chris Borich in second. On lap 3, near the halfway point, Balance was able to move into the lead and hang on till the end to claim his first victory of the season and the 57th win of his career, proving once again Yamaha was the brand to beat. This week in 2011 in Yamaha history, New Zealand's Axeman Paul Whibley struck gold on the Blue Machine as he bested Josh Strang and his then teammate Thad Duvall for the win. That also marked an anniversarial win for Paul Whibley as he struck his first win ever in GNCC in 2007 right here at the Maxxis General. And that's this week in Yamaha history.
GNCC Live here from the Specialized General GNCC. Rodney Tomlin along with Tim Cotter, Landon Wolf, and of course this whole host of GNCC racers. Walker Fowler continuing to lead here after an hour and 45 minutes of racing. And, of course, the real battle right now back in 2nd to 7th place position is Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, Hunter Hart, Chris Borch, Jared McClure, and Bryson Neal running nose to tail. And, Tim, you never know how GNCC is going to unfold. You might have your speculations, you might have your ideas, and you might think you know what's going on in the middle of the race, but everything always changes. As we saw this race, what looked like things were going to stretch out all of a sudden has become a real barn burner for that number 2 spot.
Well, we talked earlier when the youth and amateurs were running earlier today. It's all about consistency or inconsistency. And those that are inconsistent, they find themselves not doing as well. It's all about getting the repetition down right, making sure your equipment's running properly and stays running properly. Today, we have a beautiful day. Mother Nature isn't playing much of a role here today. She's cooperating a bit. A week ago, although we didn't have rain, we had some wind, we had heat, and we had riders that had not raced yet because of round 1 being postponed. Their hands came back like hamburger.
Yeah.
And many of them, I don't know how they heal that quick. That's a whole lot of vitamin E and D that those riders have healed up, and they're back out on the track a week from when they were a week down in Florida in those whoops and sands. Very, very rough out there.
And they are here. That is the heart of a GNCC racer. You got to be tough to run a tough sport, I guess, huh?
Yep, leaders are due in about 15 minutes for this final lap here. Walker Fowler, Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and Hunter Hart all fighting, all battling for those 2, 3, 4, and 5 position. Walker Fowler basically checked out, but Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, Hunter Hart, Chris Borch, Jared McClure, Bryson Neal are all very much into the thick of things, running for that number 2 spot.
I know Landon Wolf down in the pro pits right now. Landon, if you got a second, I know a lot of things going on. What's the atmosphere down there like that with this really tight race going on right now with that 2nd through 7th place position? If you can pipe in on that, I'm sure that that there's a lot of intensity going on down there right now. And I'm sure that Landon will check in with us in just a couple of moments with an answer on that, because he's going around getting all the details of what these guys are thinking right now. Johnny Gallagher back in 8th place. We saw that one stretch out. He was 6 seconds behind 7th. And you talk about intensity. You go from 6 seconds gap to 1 minute and 26 seconds. That's how much fire those guys lit on that last lap of racing. Johnny, unfortunately, probably didn't see what happened. They got out of his sight for just a second, and then they checked out before he had a chance to even realize he needed to tag along. But regardless, another good, strong ride by our rider celebrating his 25th season as an XC1. That is an 8th place position right now for Johnny Gallagher.
Here's Walker Fowler as he makes his way through the woods now. Watch him as he goes in and out. He handles that 450 cc's of Yamaha very easily, very eloquently as he goes through the woods. I would be banging off of every tree there. I could never make it through those woods.
You know, maybe the first lap I might be able to ride between the 2 trees, but like you say, I mean, just the physical demand that riding these ATVs on this track would take away from you. Yeah, it's tough. So these guys really put in a lot of work in between races just so they can be in this position nearly 2 hours into a brutal race like what we've got here in the clays of Georgia. Fowler, like we said, less than 15 minutes. We're somewhere in the neighborhood of about 12 to 13 minutes before we'll see, expect to see Walker there at the finish line. And there's checkers fly and his 2nd win. And I think in, win number 47 for Fowler, if I'm not mistaken, in his all-time wins bid, as he's really looking at right now breaking Barry Hawk's record. That will be on the ATVs, and he's really looking ahead to Bill Balance and even possibly Chris Borch in the future.
Here come our leaders now. I believe this is Adam McGill just coming into picture now. Adam McGill still holding on to the number 2 position. Cole Richardson back into the number 3 rod. Is that Hunter Hart into the number 4 position?
Yes.
Hunter Hart comes up. You can see him tap the rear end of the bike in front of him, which is Cole Richardson, as they make it through their treed area. Look at the roost coming back from behind those cycles, those ATVs, as they make it through the woods here at mile marker 7.5, 7.5 of 12.
Well, I tell you, this track looks really wide open, honestly, in a lot of areas as we look at this track. But some of the word that I'm getting from some of the riders, it's tight out there in some areas, and some of the places that these riders are catching up to one another, a little tough to make some passes because of, well, that's just the way that the old cookie crumbles in GNCC racing. So you gotta search and you gotta find those lines. And right now, you know, I think we're into that game of cat and mouse. Some of these guys might have some lines chosen, especially when you're looking at that second, third, fourth, and fifth place, as close as they are right there together with each other. You have to be thinking that Chris Borich is thinking here in this final lap, this is where I'm going to make my move. They've all got someplace in that last couple of miles, Tim, where they know that if they get an opportunity in a situation similar to this, that's where they want to try to strike and take advantage of it. And you have to wonder, how many of them have the same idea going into those final moments? Do they all? Maybe several of them chose the same line. So this is going to get very interesting, and things are going to switch up, and who knows what second through seventh place is going to look like when the checkers do finally fly out there.
Well, they're about 45 miles into the race right now, 45 miles. You know, 5-10 years ago, these riders would be getting very fatigued. But today, they're specialists. They train. You know, Johnny Gallagher's been in Florida for 3 months. Chris Borich, all those guys have been training very, very hard. My hat's off to them as they continue to go around this racetrack. Let's not forget the first ever e-mountain bike AMA National Championship race will begin here this afternoon at Ionia Pass. It's a very historical time for not only GNCC, but also the American Motorcyclist Association. Another battle there as they come through the woods. You can see they're juking and jiving in and out of the trees.
Well, Tim, I tell you what, I think we got just a couple minutes, and you keep an eye on this screen. I want to run through the amateurs real quick. We'll give a quick rundown of the top 5 in each one of the classes, and then we'll focus on the closing of this race and how that, how this is all going to pan out. Let's check in with the XC2 Pro-Am. John Glotta Jr. continued to lead after 3, had opened up 30 seconds over Drew Landers in second. John Poplotsky was third. Ben Kowalewski was fourth. Wyatt Wilkin rounding out the top 5. The College A class, we see that Brandon Owens now into the number 1 spot, gotten around Noah Mickelson. Mickelson had dropped away, now back up to the number 2 spot. A half a second off pace when they came through the finish line at the end of lap 3. Drew Moore in third. Dylan Walraven in fourth. And fifth place, Ben Wilson, as we check into that. So, wow, they first and second place, a 5-minute, 11-second lead over third place Drew Moore. Walraven in fourth, and Ben Wilson again in that fifth place position. We got a barn burner in the College A class right now. That is also, I believe, for top overall amateur honors as well. Junior A 22-plus class, Luke Shepard leading Clinton Graff. Michael McAvoy is third. Bruce Weiland in fourth, and Justin Miller, the 41 machine, rounds out your top 5. 1.8 seconds separating Luke Shepard and Clinton Graff for the first place position in the Junior A class. Another tight one. Oh, Kevin Yoho leading the Bet A 30-plus class again this week, now by only 58 seconds over Jeff Pickens. He really had a big lead in the sands last week, but this week, 58 seconds is all that separates first and second. Corbin Knott's back in third. Tom Kuntz, I should say, back in fourth. And then we've got Mike Lancaster rounding out the top 5. Senior A 40-plus class, Tom Barrett leading Michael Hayes, 42 seconds separating first and second. John Salsa is third. Dale Batson, former ATV motocrosser, is fourth, and Gary Bupkin rounds out your top 5 Senior A class. College B, Ethan Meyer out of Batesville, Indiana, 15 seconds over the 123 of Dalton Keys. Keegan Walker, the 929, is third. Aaron Greenwell in fourth. Ronald Howard rounds out your top 5. First and second, looking at about 15 seconds between Meyer and Keys. Junior B 22-plus class, Justin Eisen from Metamora, Indiana, 1 minute and 23 seconds over Nathan Johnson, who runs in the number 2 spot. Jacob Allball is third. Travis Matthews in fourth, and Jonathan Kreinbull rounds out the top 5 Junior B. Vet B class, Cody Holcomb, the 489 from Richwood, West Virginia, leading. Aaron Hendershot, our moto hero from the day, Air Force pilot as well, the 120, who had the lead earlier in this race, now about 40 seconds back after 2. They're working on 3 right now. The 3:53 of Corey Tribal Lock is your third place ride. Fourth place, the number 81 of Nick Miller, and Anthony Spivey, the 401, rounds out the top 5 Vet B. In Senior B 40-plus class, Jason Flaviano still leading Jeff Harvey. The gap now 23 seconds between first and second. Daniel Dakota in third place. Robert Stevens is fourth, and David Ogden rounds out the top 5. And that is your top 5 amateurs as we roll to the finish here on this final lap and this final push in this battle for second place. Tim Cotter?
Well, we're about 6 minutes away from checkered flag, 6 minutes from Walker O'Fowler and Adam McGill and Cole Richardson, Hunter Hart, Chris Borich, and Jared McClure, Bryson Neal, Johnny Gallagher, and Devin Freeland, all about within 6 minutes out of that finish line and the checkered flag. And then we'll be getting ready to go bicycle racing here. The specialized e-mountain bike race. Riders from all over the United States, almost 30 riders are going to be involved in today's inaugural AMA National Championship.
And that's a big deal. Just to point out, that is an American Motorcyclists Association sponsored event. It is a true national championship. Like we said, we got World Hall of Famer and World Champion here with Nat Russ. And there's Walker Fowler making his way.
Look at him go.
5 minutes away from a checker, and you can see that he is basically in celebration mode right now, Tim.
I tell you what, he is not giving up. Walker Fowler is as fast as I've seen him in his whole career as he comes out on that moto track. You know, those guys that raced the Daytona ATV Pro Motocross or Pro Supercross a week ago probably are glad that Walker Fowler didn't show up. He's got that Yamaha haul in the mail here today. As he goes in and out of these turns of the motocross track, he looks like a natural as it goes airborne. This bike isn't set up like you see those pro motocross bikes are. It's set up for the woods, and he's still able to get very impressive air time.
Very impressive air time. And Walker Fowler doing a lot of time training on moto tracks as much as, well, as he does through the woods oftentimes. And that's good on for a lot of different reasons, conditioning being one of those, timing being another. And obviously, if you can hit the jumps on the motocross track, you can figure out how to make a jump in the woods and make it all work out for you. So here we go, folks, an hour and 57 minutes into this particular race, and Walker Fowler less than 4 minutes now away from a checker flag.
Okay, Walker Fowler, Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, Hunter Hart, Chris Borich, Jared McClure, Bryson Neal, and Johnny Gallagher.
That is your tops here in the XC1 Pro class and for the overall right now. Again, XC2 Pro-Am riders, John Glotta and Drew Lanners, are now running in the 11th and 12th place positions. And also don't forget, still looking for our top amateur. Go for Rodney.
Here we go. 3 minutes, 54 seconds remaining here today before Adam Walker Fowler makes his way on. Again, Adam McGill was right behind him. You can see these riders, many of them coming out into the motocross track, continuing to go airborne.
All right, getting things geared up for a finish here, getting things geared up for a big start in E-Mountain Bike GNCC racing, as well as we got big things taking place here in Aonia Pass at this Specialized General GNCC. As we are mere moments away from checker flag and Walker Fowler's second consecutive win here in 2019 as he makes that stride for five, I guess you could say, here in 2019 itself. But he's not saying it. But the way he's riding right now, I almost have to think he's looking at trying to get that perfect season this year. He, last year, really rocked his boat. He didn't win the races that he thought he should win, and he didn't win as much as he thought he should win, especially after winning 12 races the year before. So I have to think, and I can tell by the way he's riding, he has perfect season. He will tell you something totally different. He says he don't want to talk about it until after round 12 when he heads into the Ironman. Then he'll talk about it. But we as a racing nation and the fan base, we're going to be looking into that and watching that very closely.
Oh, absolutely. So with the FMF PowerPoint, we're waiting on our leaders. And they are now about less than a minute out from the FMF Power Point. Walker Fowler should be coming out of the woods here just momentarily. That means the next stop to the FMF Power Point, then to Pro Row, and then make his way into the finish line. So the number one, the Buckeye from Ohio, making his way out of the dark forest, the majestic forest here at Ionia Pass for the Specialized Turbo General GNCC. And here comes Fowler now. Fowler is dressed in white and blue with a hint of orange down each of his arms with his white boots atop of his blue Yamaha. And he comes out into the daylight momentarily before he disappears. He disappears once again in the wooded area. And now we are looking at less than a minute from Walker Fowler to make his way to the finish line, and he's going to win one here. Through the mulch pile they come. Walker Fowler still holding on to this number one position. Into the number two position is Adam McGill. Richardson was right there behind him. Cole Richardson was back into the number three position. Hunter Hart was into the number four ride. Chris Morich into the number five. Jared McClure in six. Bryson Neal back into the number seven ride. And here comes Walker Fowler now. Here he comes for the final time, and he comes across. He's going to get the checkered flag, and he's done it. Walker Fowler out of Rogers, Ohio. He's the defending national champion, and he gets the checkered flag. And a battle now back into the number two position. Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, Hunter Hart, Chris Morich, Jared McClure. And so Walker Fowler has made it. Aaron Hendershot came in right behind him, our moto hero. He's a pilot for the United States Air Force, just got off a deployment here this week and climbs his leg over an ATV. And good to have Aaron Hendershot's Yamaha with us here today. Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, Hunter Hart, Chris Borich, Jared McClure, Bryson Neal, Johnny Gallagher. And so Adam McGill makes his way into the number two position. Chris Borich moved up into the number three ride. Cole Richardson has dropped into the number four ride. Bryson Neal in five. Jared McClure in sixth position. McClure now comes, check that, into the number seven ride. So it's Fowler, McGill, Borich, top three. Richardson, Neal, Hart, and McClure comes back into the number seven ride. Johnny Gallagher waiting on him to show up. And the checkered flag is out. And so now, as the ATV riders cross the finish line, the mountain bikers, as they are getting lined up for the first ever run of the AMA E-Mountain Bike National Championship. We are delayed about 40 minutes. We are delayed 40 minutes for the E-Mountain Bike race until we clear the course and get our staff readjusted. So we are on a 40-minute delay for the E-Mountain Bike National Championship run, the first ever here at GNCC. Ronnie Rush. Ronnie Rush comes across in the 714. Jonathan Cranball on the 711. Nick Miller makes his way across to the Vet B30 Plus class. Brody Livengood out of Falling Waters, West Virginia in the XC2 class. Let's look up here and see what we got going on with XC2. Waiting on John Glotta, Drew Landers, and Jordan Plopowski. And they are doing about 2.5 minutes. How about Chris Borage? See him as he comes across the finish line, the number 3, one of the most prolific ATV riders in our sport, in the history of our sport. Adam McGill, one of the great ambassadors of racing, not just in four-wheel here at ATV, but now has stretched his wingspan just a bit going into UTV racing. Certainly one of the fan favorites, Adam McGill, finds his way on the podium here this weekend. About 2 minutes out from the XC2 class making it in here today. Devin Feehan and Wesley Wolf has made his way back. And we are now going to go down to Rodney Tomlin, who is with Walker O'Fowler on this St. Patrick's Day.
Bit of bad blood, and I just looked at some leprechauns out there on the track and decided we were going to find the pot of gold here at the end of the rainbow, and by golly, the luck of the Irish, we got a whole shot, which we needed desperately today. That's the key to this track. There's so many places to pass, but they're so spread out, and all the tight sections in between really make it challenging to pass. So I just knew if I could position myself out front, it was going to be a great day, and we got her done.
I'll tell you what, some folks might say Walker Fowler seems to be riding with a vengeance right now, that you might be fired up about something. What's got Walker Fowler so fired up right now?
Oh, it's just a lot of things. Sometimes it's, like I said, today was personal with this track. This place just seems to have a little bit of a curse for me, but, just because we got it done today doesn't mean it's always going to happen, but it feels good today to get some vengeance and just a little bit of internet talk from the guys. It's a long year, but it's awesome to get, 2 pretty commanding wins right out of the gate. Just shows how awesome this Yamaha machine is, and these GPC tires. This Moto Experts motor firing up on the line 2 weekends in a row good. Just, my whole team, you can tell we got stuff dialed in, and, that's the stuff I like. I like going out and doing my job to the best of my ability.
Got another one coming up in a few weeks, Morganton, North Carolina, Steel Creek. I tell you what, that one last year was a real wild finish.
That's another place. If I can get through Steel Creek, we get on a streak of races that I like. One race at a time. I don't want to look too far ahead, but I got one track that's plaguing me too, that I've been so close to winning, and it might have something to do with deer. So I'm looking forward to getting through these next couple so I can hopefully take a bite out of another track.
All righty. Well, Walker, congratulations to you on another great win here today. One more step toward the history books, and I know that's where you're working.
Absolutely, Rodney. And just want to give a shout-out. My grandpap's not doing so good. Hope that he's starting to feel better. My Aunt Linda's having some health complications. Hope that, that they're watching, and best wishes to you guys. This is the first race that my mom actually has missed since we started racing GNCC in 2002. So love you, Mama. I wish you were here. I missed you jumping around at the finish line for me. But man, these all my fans, thank you guys so much. Like I said, my team, Devin Ferguson out in the woods did just a fantastic job. Yamaha, GBC, Fly Racing, FMF, Fox, Lone Star, Moto Experts. Man, there's a whole DP Brakes. There's a bunch of people that make this program what it is. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So thank you guys so much for watching at Ray TV. I love you guys.
All righty. That's 2 in a row for Walker Fowler. Can he make it 3 in a row? We'll find out in a few weeks. Right now, it's time to celebrate this win. Tim?
Back in the booth, John Glotta has just won the XC2 Pro-Am class out of Wexhall, North Carolina. John Glotta makes his way across the finish line. Drew Landers finished up into the number 2 ride. As the riders are now going to get ready for the podium down there, we'll celebrate with the podium from the Racer TV booth here among Ionia Pass. What a great day of racing it's been here for the Specialized General GNCC at Ionia Pass. So Drew Landers, we're waiting on Jordan Poplowski to come in from Shamokin, PA. Go back over to the XC1. It was Fowler, McGill, Borich, Richardson, Neal, McClure, Hart, Wesley Wolf finished up in the number 8 ride. Feehan finished up into the number 9. John Gallagher dropped off into the number 10, rounds out the top 10 here today. And the overall pretty much the same. John Glotta just behind Johnny Gallagher for overall 11. Drew Landers overall 12. Josh Merritt has just checked in. He will be overall 13 out of Akron, Ohio. He's in the XC1 class here today.
Well, making his way down here to the finish line for second place in the podium, I guess, for our interviews. Adam McGill, the Gator, if you will, out there in this one. And wow, Adam, what a race. I tell you what, that first lap into that second lap, that's where all the hard work was done for you today, brother.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we had a decent start, and I think we was 3rd or 4th going into the woods, and I made a bad line choice, fell back to probably 5th or 6th, and just kind of played it smart. I really wasn't feeling too hot the first lap, and was just behind Hunter, letting him just clean the track off for me, essentially. He was spinning and ringing it out, but it was so tight and kind of freight train-like. It was kind of waiting around for somebody to make a mistake, and believe it or not, I was the last guy to make one. So I'm very thankful to be up here. It's been since Matthews Farm since we was up here. So, you know, we're the goal is to finish every race. So far, we're 2 for 2, and I learned how to spell Wednesday.
All right. Way to go, man. You're learning things. Did you learn anything in that last part of the race, man? That's when things got tight. It was kind of stretched out until that last lap, and there was like 5 of you guys battling for second.
Yeah. We I couldn't put a dent in it in Fat Walker's lead, but, you know, at the end of the day, I knew towards the end of the last lap, I was like, I don't think I can run him down because it was just like kind of stabilizing, and I just was kind of riding defensive, but was making sure I hit all my marks. You know, my over tires were hooking up great out here. I mean, on the moto track, we was able to get over all the jumps. You know, my custom axis shocks, I was just able to put it anywhere, and the bike stuck really good, and so I really can't complain about anything. You know, the Rage motor pulled good off the start. We're getting our starts better, and so, you know, there's all kinds of things I'd like to say that coulda, woulda, shouldas, but at the end of the day, piss on it. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to love on me some puppies.
There you go, man. It sounds like you got yourself a plan. Adam, thanks for a great race today, man. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you guys so much, and hopefully we'll be back at Steel Creek. We got Mafia shirts there. We'll need your help, guys, so that's a call-out for everybody there.
All righty, that's Adam McGill. He took second place here today, a well-deserved second place as well, as he gets set for Steel Creek and hoping to make 3 finishes himself here in 2019.
Bill Gator giving it all he's got. How about Chris Borich? Chris Borich, one of the senior riders in ATV racing.
He says senior riders, Tim Cotter. Senior riders. Well, Chris, you aren't quite the senior status yet, but whenever you look at it, you are, man. I mean, the senior as far as racing goes. I mean, you've got the most wins of anybody. You got 6 national championships, and dude, you still are an animal. Wow, what a day today.
Yeah, the senior citizen works pretty good. No, it was a tough day. We struggled at the beginning pretty hard. Just seemed like the old Suzuki didn't want to turn. It was just fighting me the whole time. And once I got to learn how to ride the track, it was pretty sweet. We were able to latch on to these guys. I ended up riding with Hunter for a little bit, and we charged back up and caught Cole and Adam there. And it was just a 4-way battle. And then I seen Bryson and McClure catch up, and it was just all-out war at the end there, just swapping lines and taking all kinds of lines, and I don't even know. It was just swapping all over the place, but good fun racing, and just glad to be up here on the podium again.
Chris, you really seem to be getting stronger as the race wears on, man. I tell you, it's a whole different you used to never train, and obviously it looks like it's a whole different ball game for you as we see that endurance level really starting to spike now.
Yeah, for sure. We've been obviously been down in Florida. We were able to go down there and stay, and just training with just the boys down there. I mean, Gallagher and Weenan, and we had a couple other people down there as well, just having fun, training together, and yeah, just putting the time in. Gotta put time in. I got a little baby now, so we gotta work hard.
No doubt, and I know you've worked hard and had some pretty spectacular races at Steel Creek, man. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, definitely. Steel Creek's been good to us, and hopefully get a good start, get these Maxxis tires up front, and see what we can do.
Thanks again for another great show.
Thank you.
All right, that's Chris Sports right there, ladies and gentlemen. Third place overall, third place in the XC1 Pro class, and certainly a great champion and hoping for more wins in the future.
Thank you, Rodney. Back to the Racer TV booth. So it's been a great day, a day of historical proportions here, because we are about ready to kick off the first ever E-Mountain Bike AMA National Championship Series. On the heels of a Walker Fowler win here in Central Georgia, we say goodbye from the 2019 Specialized General GNCC. Rodney Tomlin, I'm Tim Connor, saying so long.